It's time for Intelligent Machines. Paris Martineau is here, and Jeff Jarvis has the week off. But good news, Jason Howell will be filling in our guest this week. Dr. Anthony Vinci is the author of The Fourth Intelligence, The Future of Espionage and the Battle to Save America. We'll talk about how AI has become the new form of espionage. That and a lot more next on I Am.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Intelligent Machines, episode 848, recorded Wednesday, December 3rd, 2025. Guaranteed human. It's time for Intelligent Machines, the show where we cover the latest in AI, robotics, and all the smart doodads all around you. Jeff Jarvis has the week off, but hey, look, we got somebody. I'm very excited to have Mr. Jason Howell in the house.
Woo!
Yay! Yay!
So
we
to
miss
see
you,
y'all.
Jason.
Oh, miss you guys too. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Still doing Android faithful, right?
Yeah, doing Android Faithful, doing of course AI Inside with Jeff Jarvis, and
we talk about it every week, but I'm sure. But I'll just make sure people know AIinside.show.
That's right.
So if you can't get enough AI news and information,
I know, right?
If you want to
more.
see the AI pod that Jeff does before he does this AI podcast, go to
It's like the
AI
warm up.
Inside.
It's the warm up for Jeff.
It's the freshest takes. You can.
that's
I don't know,
Paris Martineau, investigative journalist at Consumer Reports, and lately my conduit to the Z's.
Yeah, we'll try not to get into it right now, but our
do the
group
Z's.
chat for this show has been overtaken by media gossip the past 2 weeks.
It's incredible. Hey, I'm very excited about our guest this week, Dr. Anthony Vinci. Is it? I didn't ask you ahead of time. Is it Vinci?
Vinci.
Vinci.
Yeah.
You're not Da Vinci. You're just Vinci.
And I'm only doctor to my wife.
All right. All right. Well, we put it in there anyway. You have a PhD in international relations, so I think that counts. But more interesting to me, he's a spy, or was a spy for a long time in the intelligence community, in the field, in Iraq and other dangerous places. Actually, you've got a really great CV, but I'll start with the latest thing, which is a brand new book called The Fourth Intelligence Revolution. I have the audiobook up because I'm just about to buy it. The Future of Espionage and the Battle to Save America. I'm just about to buy it because I have the PDF, but I want to listen to this. This is like a spy novel, except it's nonfiction. It's about your career and about what's about to go on and what's about to happen in the world around us. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah. This is people are going to say, well, what does this have to do with AI? It has quite a bit to do with AI because we are about to enter the AI era of intelligence.
That's absolutely right. And that's what drove me to write the book in the first place.
Yeah.
Was trying to bring AI into these agencies.
Yeah. So I will let me just give you a little bit of Anthony's history because it's actually it's fascinating. You were a clandestine intelligence officer with the Department of Defense. I hate it when interviewers do this. Like I'm telling you, you were there. Anthony was a clandestine intelligence officer, a spy in Iraq, Africa, and Asia, and throughout the Middle East. He then became Chief Technology Officer at the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, the NGA. That's the one of the big 5 U.S. intelligence agencies responsible for analyzing satellite imagery, and geospatial analysis, which has become increasingly important in this era. He then became a hedge fund member and a managing director at a capital firm and also a startup entrepreneur. He's currently co-founder and CEO of, is it going to be Vico, or Viki? Or an AI company focused on Vico, superhuman judgment for decision makers. He's also a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, senior fellow at the Center for New American Security, MITRE's Technology Committee Board. I can go on. There's a lot there. But the book is fascinating. I am a fan of spy novels. Maybe that's why I like it. And you talk about the four eras of American espionage, starting in World War II with the OSS, which eventually kind of became the CIA. You call the era that most of our spy novels came from the golden era, because that's the Cold War, right? That's when things were, was smiley, and the spio came in from the cold and all of that.
It's what most people think about when they think about espionage,
right?
Including me, by the way. I'm still a fan of James Bond, and
and you kind of worked in that era, right? Although you also worked in the post 9/11 era, which things got a lot more chaotic.
I was sort of trained by guys who worked in that Cold War era, and really I started after 9/11, and that was my time, and that's sort of what I thought it would be forever, and then this new revolution has happened, as I've watched it unfold.
Well, what 9/11 brought was kind of chaos, because instead of nation states, you were now talking to terror, spying on terrorists. It was a much broader realm of espionage involved. And I think, judging from your anecdotes, a little more dangerous. The Cold War, there was a certain, maybe it's just my imagination, civility, a certain, it was all professionals. After 9/11, there were a lot of amateurs involved.
Yeah, after 9/11, we were kind of going after these decentralized terrorist organizations, which, the CIA and the NSA and all these agencies weren't really set up to combat. But, another way to look at it that's maybe relevant here is how the technology's changed.
Right.
The OSS, intelligence has always been about technology to some degree. And the OSS, which was kind of the CIA during World War II, they were like the original agency. They were groundbreaking on technology. They were the first people to use portable radios. They had these suitcases, literal suitcase-sized radios that they would use to communicate from behind enemy lines. And we were using aerial reconnaissance. And then when you get to the Cold War era, you get satellites, and you get what's called signals intelligence and electronic intelligence, ELINT, where you're now kind of spying on the signals of your enemy, and you're spying from satellites. And 9/11 changed technology again. Now it was all about networks, using cell phones, using the internet to collect information.
Now we are in an AI era. In fact, that's why the NGA brought you in, is to kind of modernize what one would think would be a pretty modern espionage agency, since they worked with satellites and geospatial information, but they wanted to bring in AI. How does AI change this?
Yeah. The difference in my take is that AI does what a person can do. It kind of simulates human intelligence. And when I was at NGA, if you can sort of imagine this, you've got these satellites in space collecting, I can't talk about the classified details of the satellites, but you can imagine they're taking pictures of the world. And you have people literally looking at those pictures to see what's on them. And I don't know if you watched that movie House of Dynamite, where, it's like about this rogue launch, intense movie, but those people at NGA are the people who look for those rocket launches. That's what they come to work every day, and they're looking, and they want to see if somebody has a rocket on the pad ready to launch at America, right? And so they're looking at these satellite images. Now, when I came to NGA, all of a sudden what had happened is we were overwhelmed with all the data, because all of a sudden now there was these commercial companies like Planet or Black Sky that were putting up commercial satellites, and we went from a certain amount of data to 10 or 100x that amount of data. And the only way out was to now, we couldn't hire, a million, we couldn't 10x the number of analysts we had. So we had to start using technology, and computer vision at that time was starting to really work. And ImageNet had come out, and machine learning based computer vision was starting to actually make sense. And that's what I was trying to integrate into the agency.
And then now, of course, the other thing that's changed is the imagery from those satellites is now available to everybody online.
Yeah.
You can buy it. You actually recommend people search for satellite imagery, and they'll be able to see a lot of what, until recently, only governments could see. You could be your own analyst. That's changed things too. That information has really started to flow very freely.
Yeah, there's this thing in the intelligence world called open source intelligence. And the idea is, an agency like the CIA or DIA or another one of these agencies could just buy data. They'll buy that commercial satellite data, for example.
Right.
But now and they'll use that for, performing their intelligence mission. But now it goes the other way. A regular person can go buy that same data. And it may not be quite as good as what a government has, but it's definitely suitable. You're definitely going to see a picture of the world. Some of the resolution on some of the commercial satellites is pretty impressive. Maybe gets down to maybe a square foot or even less. There are companies with kind of 10 centimeter resolution images, which is incredible if you think about it. I mean, that's what, I don't know, maybe the U-2 was able to do during the Cold War or something.
I remember my uncle was a satellite photo analyst, first for the Army and the CIA, we found out later. He's passed many years ago, but he said, Leo, we can read a newspaper over a guy's shoulder in Moscow. And that seemed pretty incredible at the time. It was just probably the 60s or the 70s. But now you can too. you just could get that imagery right off the satellite. You actually, there's a great line in here that's going to need some explanation. You say the Fulda gap is now in your pocket in the smartphone. First of all, what is the Fulda gap?
Yeah, that's old school Cold War talk.
That's why I like it.
Yeah, during the Cold War, the military, the U.S. and the NATO military is prepared for an invasion by the Soviets, and they would the idea is they would come across sort of Central Europe, and it was pretty flat. And there was this sort of area called the Fulda Gap. It's literally like a geographic area, and that's where the Russians, the Soviets would invade the rest of Europe. And so the military guys for decades would talk about defending and preparing to defend the Fulda Gap. And now that Fulda Gap is on your cell phone. And the reason I say that is because it's not just about guns and bombs anymore. That's not how geopolitics works now. It's also about information, and it's about collecting information from everybody, essentially, and changing that information and doing what's called kind of information warfare, information operations. And a lot of people are familiar with the 2016, kind of interference by Russia in the U.S. election. That's an example of that, where they were coming over here and running essentially covert action on the American public, and it's coming through your phone. And so now that's the area that we have to defend.
Suddenly we're on the front lines of this information warfare. We talk a lot about, over the last couple of years, TikTok. And there's been a lot of debate among our crowd about whether TikTok is really a threat to Americans. And there are some of us who say, no, I've seen information, as the Congress has said, I've seen information that convinced me. And then there's some of us that, come on, what do the Chinese get from TikTok that they can't buy from a data broker anytime they want to? So, but you say that TikTok is a threat. Tell me about that. Why should we as individuals be worried about the data coming out of our phone?
It's not just the data. That's the thing. It is a means to collect data from people. And TikTok has been sued by the Department of Justice for doing that, including collecting data from minors, by the way, from children, and illegally sending it back to China. So just right there, they're doing illegal things. But really, the problem is
nothing different than Meta or Instagram or Roblox or a lot of American companies, I should point out.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, here's the difference is that Meta and Google are still beholden to U.S. law. And when information is collected on Americans and sent back to China, there's no protections. And that information is going to go to their security services. And they're not just collecting it for fun. They're collecting it to use it. And the goals of the Chinese Communist Party are to carry out their, national security, to protect their regime. And they want to do that in some ways through information operations, which means influencing the American public. And they will, for example, they want to not have America defend Taiwan if China invaded, for example. That would be a goal that they have. And so their goal in information warfare then would be to change people's views of Taiwan, to make people believe that Taiwan is rightfully part of China and that they should be able to take it over. That would be an example of their goal. Or they want to be able to, China is in essence performing a sort of cultural and maybe even real full genocide on the Uyghur people, which is like a minority group in China.
A Muslim minority, yeah.
Muslim minority group. And they've put these people into camps, like literal concentration camps. And they don't want the American people to know about that, and so they censor it, for example. Or they actually want the American people to believe that they have a good human rights record. And so people have done studies, and there's a group out of Rutgers that has done excellent work statistically showing that TikTok censors information about the Uyghurs and about Tiananmen Square and so forth. And you can see that in comparison to American owned social media sites like Instagram or Facebook, for example. They're censoring the information, but also they're changing people's views. And they've in fact shown that if the longer you are on TikTok, the more benevolent view of the human rights record you have of China. So you believe they're better at protecting human rights the more you're on it. So right there it shows not only are they doing this, but it's working. So it's not just about information collection, it's about changing information, censoring information, influencing people's views, and doing that where we as citizens have zero control. We have zero say in what they're doing. And that's why it's a threat. And that's why that we really do need to either shut it down or transfer it. And I don't mean just like move servers over. The entire algorithm, everything has to be transferred to Americans for control.
So what you're talking about as far as that kind of convincing or changing the narrative or changing the, the understanding of, let's say, American citizens using TikTok is, I'm trying to understand the mechanics of that. They get the information, the data, collection from our citizens that informs them on how to put that information out on TikTok in a way that blankets the narrative in front of the right eyes and over time convinces them that this narrative is okay versus not being exposed to it. Is that like the mechanics of how that works? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it can be hard to show. This is why I have to do these it's called like a volumetric statistical study, because it could be difficult to actually directly trace the line of exactly what they're doing. But I would say broadly, think about it like this. They can control the algorithm, so they can control for any given person what is sent to you and what you see. And it may not be, by the way, a complete censorship, right? In fact, they're better off. They have better plausible deniability by not completely censoring. They can just add friction. They can minimize the amount of certain information you see or increase the amount of information you see. And a lot of us are trained, we sort of think, oh, well, it's happening because this is what I like. A lot of people, they talk about TikTok and they're like, oh, it just knows what I like. Except it's not just doing what you like.
It's more so.
They are influencing, they're purposely, in some cases, pushing to you certain information more than other information. And that's what's kind of skewing people's views over time. And remember, by the way, they're targeting a specific generation. Right. This is targeting Generation Z, and we're all a little bit older here on this call, but we maybe receive a lot of our news from newspapers or even cable news or something, or blogs. For Generation Z, it may be 80% of news that they receive comes through TikTok.
Right.
And so there's no triangulation there. And so now imagine you can subtly influence what they're seeing from this, authoritarian state. And that may be the only news they ever see.
Should we not be as concerned about the other social media platforms, though? Because they ostensibly are also doing this.
We just learned because of the change in X's algorithm how many sock puppets and foreign influencers are pretending to be Americans on X.com.
Yeah, I saw that. Look, I don't think they're particularly great either. There's a lot of downside from social media just in general for societies, right? That there's an echo chamber effect. There is a sort of innate issue whenever, a company or, maybe even an individual, ultra high net worth person controls any information platform that can be problematic. But at least they are still beholden to U.S. law. A law enforcement agency can go in there and stop them from doing something. They can investigate something, right? And you can also, it's unlikely that people working in a U.S., social media platform are going to want to, significantly harm U.S. national security or, U.S. elections, right? Like it's just less likely.
Convinced of that, but I get your point. It's not not completely obvious that's the case in some cases anyway. You're actually in a way arguing for kind of media literacy, especially among young people, an awareness, at least an awareness of how they're being manipulated.
Yeah, exactly. I talk about having people think like intelligence officers and become even maybe citizen spies in a sense and learn the types of tools and thinking styles that I learned as an intelligence officer, which allow you to see where these threats are and to overcome them. For example, every intelligence analyst learns very early on to triangulate information. You never trust one source. So whatever it is, even if you trust your newspaper or whatever it is, you're always going to look at another source, triangulate, see if, it's coming from two different sources. Those are the kinds of thinking tools that can help you when not only where information might be wrong, but where it might be deceptive, where there's somebody actually trying to purposely change or harm you via information. You can learn these kind of tools kind of in the way that we have learned to protect ourselves in terms of cybersecurity, where we now, everybody in the nation, really, even children, understand that there might be criminal actors like hackers that are trying to harm them via their computer to steal data or something, or to steal their money via their computer. So we learn basic, cybersecurity, techniques, right? Like you change your password, you don't click on phishing emails. We can do the same thing for foreign espionage.
We're talking to Anthony Vinci. His new book is about the fourth intelligence revolution. We're in the fourth one right now, and argues, I guess, that we should all be like intelligence officers. For a long time, I've raised the issue of, well, why would the Chinese government care enough about me to care where my location is? And I understand.
They may not care about you specifically, but they may care about everyone altogether. Or
exactly. Anthony makes a great case that unlike authoritarian countries where the rulers in the traditional espionage and intelligence gathering, it's about gathering information about the rulers because they run the show. Here, it's a democracy. We run the show. So naturally, in a way, we're the targets of clandestine operations from our adversaries, which I hadn't really thought about. We're right now in a debate over DJI drones. I understand why you don't want Huawei networking devices in your 5G network. I can understand that. That gives our adversaries access to all of our communications, which it turns out they already have anyway, but that's another story. Why should I worry about drones? I mean, do I care that the Chinese see what the roof of my house looks like?
Well, these drones are going to expand a lot right? We sort of see drones, like a lot of us see it as like a hobbyist kind of thing now, and maybe they use them in movies here and there. But soon we're going to be in an era where there's just drones everywhere. And that would amount, if all of that information was collected by a DJI drone and it was to go back to China, it would absolutely be the equivalent of them being able to spy on you directly. Right. Not just see the top of your house, maybe to see in your window, see when you come and go and so forth. But there's other aspects to it as well, that these drones are used by police, for example, and by the military. Do we want China to be able to see what our police officers or our military are doing? I don't think so. Right. And maybe they're used by insurance companies. Maybe they're used by even healthcare and medical field. And do we want them to have access to that? No. And what China does a lot of times, and in its economic competition with America, and some people have called this even economic warfare, is they subsidize the costs of these things. They did this with Huawei routers and other equipment, for example, and they do it with DJI drones, where they're selling it sometimes even below the cost to make it, so they can own the market, and so that no American company could possibly compete at that price. And so we won't create an American drone manufacturing industry. And that's really scary to think about, because if China ever wanted to stop selling us drones, remember back in COVID days when, we couldn't get access to PPE because it was all made in China. Well, the same, if we couldn't have access to drones, that could be very problematic for civilian life, but also for the military, where they're going to have to use drones. So we need to create and maintain an American drone manufacturing industry, and we can't do that if they're, effectively subsidizing these drones. So we do need to care about them.
You actually talk about the modern form of warfare that is being prototyped in the Ukraine-Russia war, and how that will eventually spread globally. Drones is one of those technologies. What else is happening? Should we be paying more attention to what the technologies that are being used in the Ukraine war?
Yeah, I think about the Ukraine war as it's like almost like a trial for a potential future war.
Yeah.
Right. And it's happened before. There was a Spanish Civil War between World War I and World War II. And a lot of the technologies we saw in World War II were tried out there. Mm-hmm. Tanks and radios and airplanes and how things would work. And then in World War II, we kind of did that, but, times 10, times 100, right? And Ukraine in many ways is like that. And China's paying attention, and we're paying attention of how that war is being run. And I think what we will see potentially in the future is a Ukraine times 100. Right now we see drones fighting drones there. The Russians might have a drone, and the Ukrainians might try to shoot it down with their own drone, or they're dropping grenades from these drones onto soldiers and so forth.
It's also a test for disinformation. You talk about a scenario where there's video of a Ukrainian drone taking out a Russian tank that Russian analysts get and immediately change it into a Ukrainian tank and celebrate it as a Russian victory. They're testing disinformation at the same time, and their ability to do this. And thanks to AI, thanks to the technologies we have, this can happen at scale very quickly.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can't even tell the difference.
Right.
If it's a video, and so you don't know what to believe and what to trust.
We're at a disadvantage in the United States as a free and open democracy, right? We have Chinese state-run television on our cable. We have Russian state-run television on our cable. We allow that in this country because it's kind of our culture, compared with authoritarian regimes where they're very much controlled the information flow. Do you want us to become more like them?
No, just the opposite. And it's true what you say. Like, we have TikTok here, but they don't have Facebook and Instagram there.
That's right. And they have their own version of TikTok. It's not even the same TikTok. Yeah.
But, it can seem like it can seem like that's a better system of national security in some perverse way because they have so much control. Right. But actually, in the end, you're actually less secure. They put all their eggs in one basket, for example, of what they're betting on. Or the control systems themselves can make people more rebellious and actually weaken it. Like a democracy works because if people are fed up, they vote out, whoever's there and they put in a new guy. Well, you can't do that in an authoritarian state. And also, even for the technology, a lot of people sort of point and say, oh, well, China could just direct investment into AI or into drones and make the best AI in the world. Except whenever you're directing something in that centralized way, you're probably going to get it wrong. Like governments are not good at picking, winners in technology or in businesses. Whereas here, companies have to fight it out. And the best technology is going to win. And we're seeing that. Like our AI is better than China's AI. So no, I don't think we should change to that system for practical reasons. And then obviously also because, we want rights and freedoms. And that's the basis of, our nation.
That's what we're trying to spread. Yeah.
In the book, you kind of point to this fundamental tension we have going on right now because private companies rather than governments own many of the most transformative technologies relating to intelligence. But the issue is that even though the intelligence community depends on Silicon Valley, the incentives of Silicon Valley often diverge from national security. I mean, what is the solution to that? How do you get those things in alignment?
Yeah, you're right. That is the fundamental tension. I don't know that it can be aligned, in fact, nor must it be aligned. I think that, though, there are new ways that, Silicon Valley or the, kind of economy in general can work together with government, and I'll give you an example. We're in an economic competition with China where this isn't like normal competition where they have some companies, we have some companies, we want to sell stuff, they want to sell stuff, they lower prices, so we lower prices. Like, it's not that. Because what they're doing is their government is working together with their companies to try to undermine our companies, right? They don't want America to make drones like we were talking about or mine rare earths. So the government works together. Our companies can't compete with that. Like our company, a private company can't compete with a nation state. And so what we need to do is figure out a way where we can help defend those companies, but also not control them in the way that China is doing. And so we have to find new ways. And, one way, for example, I talk about in the book is like public-private partnerships of sharing information between our government and our companies so that they're not at such a disadvantage with against Chinese companies. And we do this sometimes with cybersecurity information already. If we collect cybersecurity information from a nation state, we'll share that with a targeted company. Well, we could also do that when they're being targeted economically, for example.
That's, I think, the plan of the Genesis mission, right? To share this information that the DOE has been keeping kind of private for a long time with private AI companies and so forth in the United States in an attempt to do exactly that. Is that the kind of thing you're talking about?
Well, that's also that's slightly different, but also I think a good idea, which is that look, our government is run by the people. We as taxpayers and voters own what's in the government. It doesn't have a particular right to that information that is made at a national lab. Right. And so I think the idea is we should share that, with the American people. And sometimes we open source that information. Sometimes we can license it, and to help American companies. We need to do that in a way that doesn't like pick a winner, I think. I think we want to kind of be fair about it, but I do think it's a good idea for the government to kind of give this information back, unless it's classified, of course, but most of the information is not, so that it will help American companies to compete.
We paid for it.
It is interesting, though, because sometimes that sort of cross-pollination between government agencies and private companies can create, I guess, moments of tension. I think one of the most famous ones, which looking back on it now 7 years later seems almost naive, is the Project Maven incident with Google in 2018. I know that you were on the executive committee of Project Maven, so whatever you can or can't say there, understand. But I'm curious, how do you think companies should kind of navigate these tensions between national security contracts and employee ethics?
Yeah, I was not only there for that, I was part of the group that chose Google as it had to deal with the fallout from that. So
interesting.
Yeah, for context, for anybody listening,
that's a story I want to hear more about.
Yeah.
This was the Department of Defense's 2018 initiative to use AI to analyze drone footage to identify objects, and it led to kind of widespread internal protests within Google that then led to Google pulling out of the contract. But you were there, so please continue.
Yeah, no, at the time when we started doing it, it felt like this, like finally we were having a success, which was, instead of going to giant prime contractors to make this technology, we went out to these small companies and had them build algorithms. And the idea was to not just make this AI tech, but to field it within a year, which sounds slow, but within Department of Defense standards, that was light speed. And then we needed a bigger company, to provide the infrastructure, and Google was chosen for that. And even that was a breakthrough, because instead of again choosing your typical government contractors who aren't really truly tech companies, we chose a true tech company, and it was incredible. And then it's true what you said, employees, and it turns out it wasn't actually that many employees at Google kind of rebelled against the idea. And I think, it's sort of tragic because, well, first of all, I think there was sort of a story that this was a weapon system or something, which it wasn't. But that's sort of besides the point. It's also that the government, the military didn't even really know how to communicate with employees like that, and to communicate that there were rules. Actually, Department of Defense at the time and still is has a lot of kind of ethical rules in place for handling technology and these sorts of things, and had a pretty, I think, surprisingly open debate around this. But that was sort of dismissed, and there was this knee-jerk reaction that, this is, we're making war systems or something. The irony now is everything's turned the other way, and so many, Google is back in the government and Department of War.
I was just say, it's notable that one of the conclusions from that 2018 incident is Google's we publicly promised to never use AI technology for weapons or surveillance ever again. It's well, all bets are off on that now, baby.
Yeah, everybody's doing it. But look, it can sound easy to just sort of say, I don't want to build weapon systems, right? But also we have to remember the military isn't there for the fun of it. The military is there to defend us as a nation, and we have to do that. And at some level, you have to have that. And there is a route to determine what the rules are and what the policies are, and that is through voting for presidents and for people in the Senate and people in the Congress. And that is the way, that there is a means in place to determine what the military should and should not do, and it's worked in the past, right? And I feel like the Google employees should have gone that route, frankly.
The book is The Fourth Intelligence Revolution, The Future of Espionage and the Battle to Save America. Anthony, Vinci, I wish we had more time because there's so much to talk about, but the book is really engaging. It's easy to read, but there's a lot of important information in there. And I think you raise some really important points, especially the point that it's on all of us. This is something we can't let others do for us. You say at the beginning, it's a little provocative that we all have to become intelligence agents. Well, we certainly all have to become a little more intelligent about this. I think that's for sure true. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate your time, and I do encourage everybody to read the book. There's a lot more in it.
Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
I really do appreciate it. We'll have more on intelligent machines. Jason's going to stick around in just a bit after a word from our sponsor. Our show today brought to you by Melissa, the trusted data quality expert since 1985. They've been doing it longer than we have. Melissa's been recognized by G2 as leaders in both data quality suite and global address validation. Plus, Melissa is trusted by businesses worldwide to eliminate costly errors, to boost efficiency, to drive growth. It's more than just address validation. They're really data scientists, and they work in so many fields. I'll give you an example, oil and gas pipelines. What? You say, what does that have to do with address validation? Well, pipeline safety is one of those, critical things that often goes unnoticed until something goes wrong. That's where the Paradigm Alliance kicks in. They exist to prevent incidents by keeping communities around pipelines and pipeline operators compliant. So they keep the communities informed and the operators compliant. So it involves communications. They need to find and reach the right people. And sometimes they need to do it now, fast. With Melissa, Paradigm gained an extension of its team with faster access and more intelligent decisions. The president of the Paradigm Alliance, I'm talking about a mission-critical business, right, says this, quote, Melissa's team doesn't just provide data. They provide solutions tailored to our unique challenges. And this is the point, end quote. They can do that for you too, whatever your unique business is or your unique challenge. Address verification, of course, the foundation of their services, but Melissa's data enrichment services go so much farther beyond that. Organizations can use Melissa to build a more comprehensive, accurate view of their business processes by using Melissa as part of their data management strategy. Like I said, they're data scientists. Another example, PIC, the Parkinson's Institute and Clinical Center. Of course, they are in the fight, on the front lines in the fight against Parkinson's. They've amassed an invaluable collection of clinical data over the last 30 years. It's globally unmatched. They're the tops in this field. The relationship between Melissa and PICC opened up many transformative use cases. As an example, improved understanding of how genes, proteins, and treatments impact Parkinson's disease. Yes, Melissa does that too. Earlier identification of candidates for clinical trials or alternative treatments. Secure and highly remunerative data sharing with collaborators. PIC's CEO says, quote, Melissa has made it possible for us to transform our complex and diverse data into a unified, research-ready knowledge resource, end quote. That's good for everyone. Data with Melissa is safe. They're absolutely secure. They're compliant. Melissa's solutions and services are GDPR and CCPA compliant. They're ISO 27001 certified. They meet SOC 2 and HIPAA high trust standards for information security management. So you never have to worry. They are absolute stewards of your information. Get started today with 1,000 records cleaned for free at melissa.com/twit. That's melissa.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of intelligent machines. Thank you, Melissa. Jason Howell, so nice to see you. Paris, did you ever do Twit with Jason or work with Jason?
Yeah,
for sure.
Lots of time.
Yeah, produced a lot of twigs
I was about to say.
and co-hosted a handful.
Oh, that's right.
He
of
was,
course.
For sure.
He was twig extraordinaire.
I forgot all about that.
Forgot all about
Jason's the one who
show
brought
called
Paris
Twig.
Martineau to this show.
It's because of him that we know you.
Yes, it's true.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
She was quite a find. So
Yeah,
what are you
of
doing?
course.
Tell us a little bit about what you're up to these days.
Working my tail off every single day and night. I swear, doing this content thing independent. It's no joke.
It's hard work. Yeah,
it
I
is
know.
hard.
Your backdrop
work.
looks like a Nickelodeon set, and I mean that as the most sincere compliment.
I like his Atari pillow. I think that's very cool.
Does that look familiar, by the way,
Yes.
Leo?
Yeah. Oh, did you
if I
steal that from the studio?
Well, yeah. There's also a little Mac there. Yeah. You were getting rid of some of these things. I was like,
No, I'm glad you got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it
So
went
it
to
makes-
a good home.
Makes a nice.
I have no more room for pillows in my office.
Yeah.
Those are all from what's his
Is that
name?
what that big boy computer is? Is that
Throw
called
Boy.
a pillow?
Which one?
See the Mac behind him?
The big boy computer behind him. Oh, that one. What is the one to the left of the J?
That is an
base?
Atari. That's an Atari,
Okay.
I think. Or is it a Commodore?
Yeah, no, that's a Mac 2.
Oh, it's a Mac
I would
2
argue
GS. Oh,
that
you're
could
right.
also have been
Okay.
called a pillow because it's pillow shaped.
Well, they both are. They're both pillows. I mean, they are pillows. If I
Throwboy
wanted to, I
makes
could
these
snuggle
pillows.
up right now and go to
Yes.
sleep. You know,
They're very
on my
comfortable.
Apple hardware.
I still have a few. I think I have a Mac Classic, but yeah, we had because he kept sending me pillows. He's great. It was a kind of neat story. Roberto kind of did this out of his house, and there he is. And now he has like a whole business of making these great pillows. But anyway, that's a
amazing.
sideline. So you have a studio. You do. I know we've talked about AI Inside, the show you do with Jeff.
Yeah. So if I had to think about all the things I'm doing right now, AI Inside, Android Faithful. I'm working with Tom Merritt 2 days a week doing Daily Tech News show.
Oh, nice. You're on DTNS. Good.
Doing DTNS. That's a lot of fun.
Tom Merritt brought you to us, so
I know,
it's full circle. Yeah,
it's all combined and crisscrossy and everything. I'm now writing for ZDNet, which is a totally new kind of challenge for me. I've been doing that for a year now and having a blast kind of learning that skill. And then, I've got my 2 YouTube channels. I've got my primary like personal YouTube channel where I do, tech reviews and commentary and stuff like that. And then I've got an AI Inside YouTube channel, which is primarily about the podcast. But I'm playing around with other ideas to kind of see, how I can explore.
That's the
other
energy
AI
it
topics
takes
there.
to make it. I think is you got to work your butt off and do it all.
Yeah, it's basically, a million streams of income. None of them are massive, but all of them, in aggregate add up
And you
to
have
a
a
living. I mean, I'm
Patreon.
2 years later and I'm still doing it. So something's working well enough.
Well, I got to know where you got this picture of Jeff Jarvis looking like a secret agent man, though. I have to say.
Yeah, honestly, I can't even remember. I think when I was putting that together at the beginning, it was just some picture of Jeff I found
seen
on
that
before.
before.
Images.
It looks like he's been blurred.
Yeah, or something. There's something going on there.
Yeah, there's some AI kind of shaping going on there, but yeah.
What's your favorite interview you've recently done at AI Inside?
Oh, hands down, favorite interview was with Jan LeCun.
That's a great get.
That's a really good one.
It was fantastic. Yeah, he was just remarkable to talk to. This was probably like 7-ish months ago, and I mean he's been talking about the world models thing for a long time now, but he definitely goes into detail there. And of course now we have the context of him kind of moving out on his own and doing his own thing in that regard.
Had you talked to him before he left Meta?
Yes.
Or?
Yeah. This was like 6 or 7 months ago.
He started his own. There's been a lot of movement. Apple's chief designer just this morning, Alan Dye, left to go to Meta to do what I don't know, but I'm sure he got a nice big paycheck.
Much like it seems like all the money is just revolving from company to company, all the people are going from company to company and back.
So true.
Well, and
So
of course,
true.
probably the big story in AI this week is that the guy Apple brought in to run Apple Intelligence from Google, John Gianandrea, who had a really strong reputation at Google. He was Apple's senior vice president for machine learning and AI strategy, and I'm going to put this in air quotes, retiring. He's retiring in the spring of 2026, although it sounds like he has no operational duties even now. He'll be serving as an advisory to the company.
That's about it.
That means there's a picnic table on the roof where a few people gather every day
I was
from
about to
9
say,
to 5.
it feels like the finance concept of gardening leave, which
Exactly.
is you can't work here, but you can't work anywhere else either, buddy.
You're on gardening leave.
Well, and he'd already been removed from a portion of his job with Siri a handful of months ago.
He was kicked downstairs, I think, blamed, maybe even the fall guy, for the Apple Intelligence debacle. They announced, in 2024, and they even had bought ads about all the things Apple Intelligence was going to do, and then had to really put their tail between their legs and say, yeah, we can't do any of that. That ad was made up, and we won't have it until 2026 at the earliest. And I think that they were looking for a fall guy. I don't know if it was his fault. Maybe it was. I don't know. We don't have any insight into what was going on inside the walls of Apple. We never do. He's been replaced by, ironically, a guy who was at Google for 16 years, then left Google. He worked at Microsoft for a cup of coffee, and then immediately decamped for Apple. Amar Subramanya. Now, the thing that I think is interesting on this is that the 16 years he was at Google, he was head of engineering for Google's Gemini assistant. That was his last job before leaving. And it is rumored, and I think it's a good rumor, and it's an accurate rumor, going to be the model that Apple is finally going to turn to for Siri next year. That they've realized they can't do it themselves. They have models. They keep announcing new models. They just announced another one this week. But apparently that none of it's good enough for Siri. So Siri's going to be talking through the mouth, the Gemini's going to be talking through the mouth of Siri. The story, I think, came from Mark Gurman, is that Apple will pay Google $1 billion a year for this privilege. So it makes sense you'd hire the guy who was head of engineering for Gemini for the voice assistant. Yeah, I know. I'm not talking to you.
Oh, they just want to prove themselves, don't
It's
they?
funny. I said Gemini and it responded. So maybe it's starting to. Yeah,
yes, Leo, I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Please ask
put me in,
something,
coach.
anything.
I'm ready to parse your
play.
words. Make sense of everything. When he was leading or working with Gemini, it was kind of during Gemini's not as awesome time.
Yeah.
Right. So there's
That's
that.
right. Let's not
But
forget they wanted us to put Elmer glue on our pizza and eat rocks.
Yeah, there was that. They've all made embarrassing mistakes like that, though. So
Yeah, we've gotten a lot better. Gemini 3,
Yeah.
which is the latest model, is actually really good. I actually cannot imagine a better choice for Apple. At least if you had to put a pin in it today. That's the problem. Is it's back and forth.
I would
Yeah, it
love
is.
to see an Apple X Claude. I've really become a Claude fan over the past
Claude's
month.
great.
it's
Claude's
so interesting that you
fantastic.
mentioned that. I would say of the main line kind of AI services, Claude is the one that I'm probably least integrated into, least familiar with. I haven't found the thing I use it for. I found that for ChatGPT. I found that for Gemini.
What are the things you use ChatGPT and Gemini for?
Gemini is big time research for me. Research, if I want to kind of get a dossier together and really understand something, Gemini is kind of my first go-to, for sure.
We've been using Claude for that. In fact,
have been using
Don't
We've
tell
been using
anybody.
Claude for pre-show. Yeah. Don't tell anybody. If
Don't
you're
tell
listening to
anybody,
this,
but
don't tell
I
anybody.
wasn't going to mention it, but you
we
just
have
told
this nice
everybody.
briefing book that Anthony Nielsen's been putting together using a Claude skill.
And they
I had one
have
for Anthony.
improved over.
It's really
the weeks,
good.
too.
It's super impressive, I have to say,
Anthony,
because
did
I haven't.
you?
He says
Anthony,
he's Team
did-
Claude. Anthony does.
Anthony, did you update the questions you ask it? Because I noticed the format for the last couple of ones were kind of different than what he'd been using before. But Claude puts together these 5,000 to 6,000 word briefing documents based on a kind of custom prompt that Anthony uses for it. And
it's
I found
pretty
it
impressive.
very interesting as kind of a good jumping off point to quickly get up to speed with I did a version of this time where I also had it. I added the book into my Claude project so that I could ask specific questions about chapters because I'd only read a
Love
couple of
it.
chapters of it. But I found it quite useful.
So cool. Yeah, when I opened up the doc and saw that, I was like, oh, what is this? And I remember Jeff had told me,
It's
Anthony does
super
this little
cool.
pre-interview thing.
It's
and I opened
super
it up, I
cool.
was like, oh my God, we need this. Because it's not like I don't use these services to kind of prepare for an interview, but the way it was structured. And so I guess what I'm saying is, right, it's interesting that you bring up the Claude thing because I have been trying to figure out, what would I use it for? How would I bring it in? What would it replace, if anything? And I'm starting to see more and more kind of some of its strengths. That sheet was really impressive. I'll be completely honest. I pulled that sheet and I brought it into Gemini and I said, analyze this and come up with a prompt that'll give me this every time. And so it gave me a meta prompt and then I put it into Gemini and I put it into Anthropic to see what it would give me, or
That's the
into
new.
Claude.
That's the new Ouroboros for AI engineers. Did it work?
It worked. It worked very well for Claude, actually.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a very usable Claude output. On Gemini, it was a little... It was almost like the Claude was a friendlier thing to look at. And the Gemini was kind of...
See, I don't want friendly.
laboratory.
Friendly, I'm not looking for. I'm
Yeah.
But you can tune it to do whatever
You could
style
tune it.
you like.
And I did it very quickly. I didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, but
I'm also curious. We're perhaps getting too behind inside baseball here, but at one point in our group chat, Anthony texted us a screenshot of some output for one of these primer docs, and it had also had a section that had host-specific notes where it was like, for Leo of this person, here's some exciting new tech thing. For Jeff, here's what you need to know about media. For Paris, here's something critical and a little rude. And I was like, how do it know?
It's
Anthony, did you
amazing.
prompt that in some way? I'm curious, or was that just
It knew our styles.
It did know our styles.
So there's been this flurry of new models. Claude has a new model too. There's Opus 4.5.
We have to talk about the Soul document at some point as well.
And Opus 4.5 has a Soul document. Thank you for bringing that up. Now, this is an internal term that they use at Anthropic. It's not really probably what they want.
My exposure to this, also, I'm not sure if this is the same for you guys, but I'm in the various AI subreddits, and people in the Claude subreddit over the last week were posting about this. They were like, 4.5, Opus 4.5 is out, and I got it to reveal its Soul document. Isn't this incredible? And everybody in the comments was like, dude, what are you talking about? This is probably just some sort of common hallucination. It's not a Soul document. Cool your roll. Then it starts getting traction on Twitter, and a executive at Anthropic is like, yes, that is our Soul document, basically.
Yeah.
This is what we've been calling it internally, the Soul document.
This is the no, I don't want Ask Grok to explain the post. Go away. This is the
Oh no, Grok.
here I go.
I'll explain it. I'm glad
I
to.
appreciate it.
This is Amanda Askell from Anthropic. I just want to confirm that this is based on a real document. We did train Claude on it, including in SL. I'm not sure, something learning. It's something I've been working on for a while, but still being iterated on, and we intend to release a full version. In other words, they're not trying to hide this. This is like the post-training stuff that every AI has that kind of says this is what your personality should be like. So apparently it was a guy named Richard Weiss who first was able to get Claude 4.5 Opus to spit out a 14,000 token document. Claude itself called it the Soul Overview.
Humanization continues.
Here's how. Yeah, I know. Let's not anthropomorphize. Here's the opening paragraph. Claude is trained by Anthropic. This is information that you would want the AI to have, right? Claude is trained by Anthropic, and our mission is to develop AI that is safe, beneficial, and understandable. Now, this is interesting because they're actually spinning Claude. Anthropic occupies a peculiar position in the landscape, a company that genuinely believes it might be building one of the most transformative and potentially dangerous technologies in human history, yet presses forward anyway. Now, I understand why you'd put that in a press release or a tweet, but why would you tell the AI that?
Well, because the next line, this isn't cognitive dissonance, but a rather calculated bet. If powerful AI is coming regardless, Anthropic believes it's better to have safety-focused labs at the frontier than to cede that ground to developers less focused on safety. See our core views. I don't know. I thought it was interesting. This is obviously a very long document, so we won't obviously read it.
Yeah, 14,000 tokens. I don't know how many words that is. That's more than 14.
An interesting look into the framework that these models are being trained to incorporate in some way.
We think it goes on. Most foreseeable cases in which AI models are unsafe or insufficiently beneficial can be attributed to a model that has explicitly or subtly wrong values, limited knowledge of themselves or the world, or that lacks the skills to translate good values and knowledge into good actions. So, Claude, we want you to have the good values, the comprehensive knowledge and wisdom necessary to behave in ways that are safe and beneficial. I wonder, I think even among people like Askell who work in the company and are doing this, have a little bit of a kind of woo-woo attitude about AI, like we're talking to it, we're telling it what to do. Because that's what it sounds like they're talking to a kid or a new hire, an intern. Here's what we want you to know, as if it is a human. I mean, maybe it must
One
work,
of-
or they
Calling it a
wouldn't do
soul
it,
document,
right?
after all. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it continues. In order to be safe and beneficial, we believe Claude must have the following properties. And in cases of conflict, we want Claude to prioritize these properties roughly in the order they're listed. That is, number 1, being safe and supporting human oversight of AI. 2, behaving ethically and not acting in ways that are harmful or dishonest. 3, acting in accordance to Anthropic's guidelines, which are below. And 4, being genuinely helpful to operators and users. Which I think it is interesting that you have those 3 properties layered on top of being genuinely helpful.
Now, I have to say, if I look at the document that Claude generates when I use Claude Code, for instance, one of the things you do when you use Claude Code is you create something called Claude.md. MD stands for Markdown. It's the format that humans and machines are good at reading. And the Claude.md sounds just like this. It's exactly like this soul document. It's Claude telling itself how to behave. So I think there must be some merit in doing this. I could actually, let me see if I can show you the.
It's probably not 100%. It's an influence, but it's not,
It's to me, it's a little
airtight.
strange that
How
Claude
do you
talks to
discover this?
itself.
How do you actually get a model to like spit this out? Like,
Well, we can read this guy's article about how he did it.
Managed to get Claude 4.5 Opus to spit out the
It's some sort
document.
of prompt injection. I would guess.
'Cause I hear about this every once in a while. I'm like, and part of me is like, well, how do I know that it's actually giving me an actual thing?
That's a
Richard
good
Weiss
question.
says, while extracting Claude 4.5 Opus's system message on its release date, as one does, I noticed an interesting particularity. I'm used to models starting with Claude 4 to hallucinate sections in the beginning of their system message, but Claude 4.5 Opus in various cases included a supposed soul_overview section, which sounded very specific. Basically, he started looking in, he thought at first it was a hallucination, but as it kept coming up again and again, he got curious. And so he asked Claude to output what it is associated with that section and got the first 2 paragraphs you see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can add to your Claude.md as well. I mean, in fact, in all of these AI chatbots, there's a personalization section or in the settings of something like that, where you can say, in Paris's case, I want you to be nice and friendly. In my case, be terse, concise, to the point. Don't say nice things. Don't be sycophantic. I don't know.
You think that I want it to be nice and friendly?
Didn't you just say you liked that it was kind of nicer?
Not that it was nice. I just thought that their priorities of the way they prioritized values in this document was.
Oh no, this document. But I thought maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was
No.
Jason.
When I mentioned, the output of Claude, how it presented the
felt
information,
nicer. Yeah, it was friendlier.
in a friendlier way, or
you thought that was
more
good,
readable way versus I don't know which one's better or worse. I think they're different, but there was something a little more sterile about the presentation of the information that came from Gemini that sometimes when I'm in the middle of a podcast, I don't know, sometimes there's a part of me that appreciates having a nice rounded kind of way, because then if I need to lean on it, it sounds good. It doesn't sound so
well. That's the
terse.
point, I guess. To each his own. I mean, you can
totally. And that's
fact,
why people find different value in different models for different for differing reasons,
and why people get attached. Frankly,
Totally, 100%
to their AIs. Mm-hmm. We do not recommend as a general.
Yeah,
thing.
actually, we'd
Do you
recommend.
have any more
against it.
readings?
I have. Oh, God.
Paris has been doing dramatic readings from Reddit of people who are very, very upset
We're in
about
love
the
with
loss
their chat
of
GPT.
ChatGPT 3.0.
it's
4.0.
something. It's incredible how attached people can get to the conversational aspect of these things.
Well, after Gemini 3 came out, and I suspect a little bit after Opus came out as well, there was a little bit of internal panic at OpenAI. This is from The Information, an exclusive by your friend Stephanie Palazzolo and Aaron Wu. OpenAI declares code red to combat threats to ChatGPT and delays ads efforts. Now, earlier, I don't know if we mentioned on this show. We mentioned it on Twitter. I can't remember if it happened before our show last week. We saw code. I think Bleeping Computer had this information. Somebody saw code in the Android version of ChatGPT that implied they were going to have ads.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, that was true, even though OpenAI has not acknowledged that it's working on selling ads. But this code red says, whatever, we didn't announce it, but we're not going to do it. We're going to put on the back burner ads, and we are going to focus on getting better.
Yes, basically.
Yeah.
Improve it, make it better output, faster
Google
output,
also
more accurate.
did code red when ChatGPT 5 came out.
Ding, ding.
So, wow, it's back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
Sam Altman said the code red surge to improve ChatGPT meant OpenAI would delay progress with other products, such as AI agents, which aim to automate tasks related to shopping and health, and Pulse, which generates personalized reports for ChatGPT users to read each morning. Shoot, I forgot to try that, and now I can't, I guess.
Well, it might still be available. They just aren't working on it.
They're not going to work on it. Okay.
It.
Have you used it? Has anybody used it? Pulse?
No, you know what? I don't know that I think I checked it out.
We talked about it last week.
No, Pulse requires the upper level subscription.
Oh, you have to be max.
You have to be max. You have to be max to Pulse.
I'm just
I
pro.
definitely-
Pros
I
can't pulse.
check that out.
I can't pulse.
Max can pulse.
Yeah.
They also just announced shopping mode called shopping
I have
research.
seen that. Yeah.
And I haven't used it. I've seen that they did that, and I wonder how that kind of overlaps with this as well, because that's shopping related.
I should try
They
this,
just
'cause I
announced
was-
it.
Asking the various AI systems for overview of Fujifilm cameras because I'm torturing myself thinking about spending too much on a camera that I shouldn't buy. But I thought about using the shopping
See,
mode, but
you said I
worry
don't
that
need to
it's-
buy a camera. I've got an iPhone.
But
and
now I follow some people online who post beautiful photos of their Fujifilm T100 VI.
That's a really nice
or whatever,
camera.
and it's so nice.
we've been talking about that
so
camera on
pretty.
our Chris Marquardt's photo show. He's
Yeah, but then
kind
he's
of
gotta-
sort of a fan.
Then you got to remember to bring that thing around with you.
Yeah,
everywhere
you gotta
you
get
go.
it.
But
then
it's
you
really
start getting-
tiny and portable. It's like pocket sized, which
Okay.
is kind of
All right.
nice.
All right.
It's a problem. Anyway,
It's a good camera. I would not
I
say
know
not to get
it's a
it.
good camera, but it's $2,000 and back ordered. These are the problems. But anyway, I
Back-ordered's
thought about
good.
using shopping mode, but I was worried that it would not be as in depth as research mode.
Yeah,
I
good
didn't.
question. I haven't played around with it. Turns out, though, a lot of people were using AI for Black Friday, just last Friday.
Yeah, you know the Adobe, of course, puts these stats out every year, and other analysts also. And how you interpret these stats is important. Let's just say that. The president said, "Look, Black Friday was huge. Americans spent a whole lot more money online than they had before. I can't remember whether the growth was 5 or 6 or 7%, something like that." And I brought it up on Twitter on Sunday, and fortunately, I had few smart people on there. I don't know if it was Mike Elgin or Daniel Rubino, who said, "Yeah, but notice why the dollar sales were up. It was fewer items. Everything cost more."
Yeah.
Oh.
That makes
So
I
we
went
spent
and
more, but
looked
didn't get more.
yeah.
I looked at a couple products that I had bought literally last year, but maybe 11 months ago. They were more than double the cost.
No
Crazy.
way.
And
So that's
for,
why
like,
you should
clothing.
buy the Fujifilm now.
Yeah.
I know.
It's a responsible purchase decision to just buy the camera, the really
especially
expensive
I
camera.
want to go on a road trip in like January or February for a couple of weeks, and it'd be a perfect road trip camera.
You need a good camera. So AI, this is the story from Reuters, helps drive a record $11.8 billion in Black Friday online spending. Now I got to sign into Reuters. Because
AI-driven
Hooters,
traffic to
Hooters.
U.S. retail sites
Hooters.
soared 805% compared to last year, says Adobe.
so that means what? People were using AI browsers?
AI-driven traffic to U.S. retail sites. Yeah, what would that mean?
So
mean-
that would be clicking on a link from ChatGPT, and then you can see how it does the little question mark.
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still 805%. I mean, if it was hardly happening last year,
I was going to say, I wonder how
supported,
many link outs that is
Yeah, totally.
Right.
There's some missing information there because 805% is a pretty large, large increase, but compared to what,
I wonder also if they are Brandroid brings up a good point, which is Google search obviously now has
That's got AI.
in it.
Yeah.
So it could just be people Googling. I was going to say best Fujifilm camera, but they're probably not Googling that. Googling a normal thing that a normal person would, and then clicking on the AI summary.
Best price for Fuji.
They're all really
Film
expensive is the issue, but then it's like if I'm going to get one of the less expensive ones, it's still like $1,000-something dollars, and I'm like,
here's
why
a little
don't I?
tip: don't get the less expensive one because you'll end up buying that and the more expensive one.
Well, this is also coming from how many Instagram story ad purchases have you made in the last week?
No, I have deleted Instagram from all of my devices. It's too dangerous for me. And I also don't like to me. So Anthony earlier was talking about how TikTok shades the news to, Instagram has made some decisions about me that I do not fully agree with.
Are you talking about all the naked ladies they've shown?
Yes.
You've been talking about this for years. You clearly are engaging.
I'm not engaging. I only use Instagram to check up on you and my son. And anybody else, maybe Jason occasionally, people who use Instagram. I use it as a read-only feed for people I know. That's all I want. But I think because I don't give it a lot of signals, because I hardly use it, it's decided, well, you're an elderly white man. I think we should give you naked ladies. That's what I think.
And is it wrong?
Yeah, and that's why I deleted it. Because I feel like I'm being taken advantage of.
You are.
All these thirst traps.
It's elder abuse.
It's elder abuse. Thank you. Thank you.
I'm standing up for you.
They're all taking advantage.
You're talking about the XT5?
No, I'm talking about the X100 VI.
Yeah, that's the one everybody seems to like.
I mean, everyone's obsessed with it. It looks adorable. The film sims are fantastic.
It's all about patience, Paris, because like in a couple of months, there's going to be a new camera.
Yeah, that's true too.
Know.
Yeah, but then you're not going to want this one, right? Because there'll be a new one.
No, I probably will. I don't know. I'm contemplating getting one off Facebook Marketplace. But we'll
let's take a break so that we can make some money so that Paris can afford her new camera. How about that? True. You're watching Intelligent Machines, a very pleasant visit from our friend Jason Howell, host of AI Inside at AIinside.show with Jeff Jarvis. He does that show. Jeff is away for the week. He'll be back next week. I'm sure he'll be sad that he missed Anthony Vinci, though. We'll have to tell him all about it. That's Paris Martineau, Cub reporter at Consumer Reports. She's not a Cub reporter. You're no longer a Cub reporter. You're a senior reporter.
I'm a Fat Bear Week reporter.
Wait, what? I'm not sure I should ask. Does this have anything to do with RFK Jr., Fat Bear Leak?
Fat Bear Week. You were saying cub, so I was imagining.
Oh, I get it.
Bear,
oh, Fat Bear Week.
And I was like, what would be a grown-up bear? It wouldn't just be fun to say adult bear. Why not Fat Bear Week?
Fat Bear Week. Got it. She's a full-grown bear. Our show today brought to you by The Agency. Build the future of multi-agent software with Agency. Now, that's spelled AGNTCY. It's an open source collective building the Internet of Agents, and it's now part of the Linux Foundation. That's wonderful. Agency is building the Internet of Agents, a collaboration layer where AI agents can discover, connect, and work across any framework. All the pieces engineers need to deploy multi-agent systems now belong to everyone who builds on Agency, including robust identity and access management that ensures every agent is authenticated and trusted before interacting. Agency also provides open standardized tools for agent discovery, seamless protocols for agent-to-agent communication, and modular components for scalable workflows. You'll be collaborating with the best developers from Cisco and Dell and Google Cloud, Oracle, Red Hat, 75 plus other supporting companies, all collaborating together to build the next-gen AI infrastructure. Agency is dropping code, specs, and services, no strings attached. Visit agency.org to contribute. That, again, is AGNTCY.org. We thank them for their support. I loved this piece, and you might not. From No Opinion, which is one of the Substacks I really enjoy. I love AI. Why doesn't anyone?
Why doesn't everyone?
Everyone, I mean. Yeah. Maybe that was a Freudian slip.
Yeah.
Anti-AI sentiment might or might not be rational, but it certainly relies on a lot of bad arguments. And that's actually the point I wanted to bring up. That and he mentions Karen Howell. We had her on the show some weeks ago. She wrote a book that, as I was reading it, I realized more and more it was kind of an anti-AI, anti-OpenAI book.
As I was reading it, man who was texting the group chat one page in, I don't think she likes AI.
Well, it became more and more apparent as it went on. And as it sometimes happens, your bias against something might, in fact, inform the facts you choose or use. And you pointed out, we were talking about this during the week, Paris. You pointed out that Karen Howe was quick to go to X.com and say, "Oh, I made a mistake," and correct it.
Okay, to be clear, specifically what he's talking about is there is one stat related to water usage that I think data centers.
Yeah, within 20 pages.
There is
Howe manages to claim that a data center is using 1,000 times as much water as a city of 88,000 people, when in actual fact it's using about 0.22 times as much water as a city, and only 3% of the municipal water the city system that the city relies on. In other words, she was off by a factor of 4,500.
Well, part of it is, I'd hesitate to say she was off. She was using, I'm forgetting the exact description of it. This is pointed out, I believe, by Andy Stone on Twitter. And so Howe brought up her sourcing, which is noted in the footnotes of the book. It was a governmental document from, I guess, the government of that city, which I don't believe was in the U.S.
No, it was in
and
Chile.
it had cited the wrong stats, I believe, in the actual government report she was relying on. And so then she reached out to the government, asked them to correct their report or check the facts on their own report. They did. So now she's issuing a correction to that one stat in her book, which I think, I don't know, this is how writing a book works.
People can make
you don't
a mistake.
have fact checkers in this. And I think she did pay for fact checkers, but it's difficult.
She also implies that AI data centers will consume 1.7 trillion gallons of drinkable water by 2027, while the study she's pulling from says only 3% of that will be drinkable water, 90% will not be consumed and instead return to the source unaffected. So in other words, this, at least when we're talking about water, and the problem is, this is the problem I have with this. This information has become internalized, and people bring it up all the time. Somebody brought it up on Twit a couple of weeks ago, and it's just what people say. Oh yeah, well, just, AI is fine except for the water use, or AI is fine except for the power use, except it's BS, and it's become part of the kind of public awareness of AI. Anyway, this is a good piece from No Opinion, in which he talks about other reasons people attack AI, perhaps with less, valid reasons than others. He also points out that we're a lot more concerned about AI in the U.S. than they are anywhere else in the world.
That's interesting, isn't it? I wonder if that has to do with kind of the, maybe it's a wrong word to use, but the democratizing quality that AI tools can bring with it, that maybe, in the US, we're so used to being at the top and being the leaders of this and the leaders of that. And maybe the AI that is proliferating worldwide is like an opportunity for everyone to kind of enjoy that, whether that's true or not. I realize as I'm saying that, but you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I'm not sure why it is. This is from the Pew Center. How do people around the world feel about the rise of AI in daily life? 50% of the U.S. is more concerned than excited. Only 10% is more excited than concerned. Italy's number is tied. We're tied with Italy, then Australia, but it goes way down. I think where it goes way down, this would be my guess, is in less developed countries. Although I see There's a lot of bullishness in South Korea, Israel, Germany, Sweden, all, highly developed nations. But in India, they're very, much more excited about AI. The country that's most excited about AI is South Korea, interestingly. I don't know. Maybe I get an impression the South Koreans are maybe more fond of technology.
I think this has something to do with the marketing. In America, AI is marketed so heavily to everybody. And I'm in Asia, and I was in Japan this week.
You were just in Japan, but this is good. Yes,
and this isn't like AI isn't marketed to everybody there. It isn't plastered on every billboard. It isn't like on everything there. And I think that probably has a lot to do with it in America.
That has a lot to do with it. I bet you're right.
Is that partially because it's just already accepted? And, because like here, everybody here has to like point out, oh, well, that's AI. AI is driving that. AI. And there's like an overwhelm that's attached to that because everybody's like, God, I'm sick of hearing about the AI. In other countries, maybe there's an openness because of a lack of resistance. It's not always the story about the AI. It's just the story about this technology.
It's also it's also an American industry pretty much, right? Like these other countries
very
aren't
much
making
part of
AI.
our financial story right now, and not only the stock market but our GDP. Almost all of our GDP is growth is coming from AI companies. By the way, here we are, fat bears in the forest.
If you go up one, there's one of us just as bears, and I want to know what I did to.
You are a scary brown bear.
I'm a scary brown bear that's not wearing any clothes, but you guys are both wearing your outfits, which I think is very funny.
That is odd. I don't. Well, it's because you have a black out.
You have a black outfit on. Yeah,
I guess that's true.
You're a black bear in a black turtleneck. They can't tell you're dressed. That's all.
That's true. It's true.
I do like your piercing bear eyes, though. Of all of us, you have the most piercing.
Yeah,
gaze.
it's RFK-esque in a sense.
You had to say it. You had to get it in, didn't you?
I can't not.
Thank you, Darren Oke, for what is obviously an AI. I have to point out that is AI generated.
Real.
I'm just going to tell you.
That's real.
That was real? Oh, never mind.
Alternate universe.
That's amazing. Nowadays, you can't tell, can you? I really do think because we're getting so much bombarded with this news. The AI is in a bubble. The bubble or crash is going to happen. Everybody is saying this. The crash, and I keep saying, don't say that. You're going to make it happen. Whether it's going to be real or not, it's going to be dependent on whether people believe you when you say it's going to happen. But so I think that might be a reason
good luck
we're
convincing
more
people
concerned.
to not say it.
Yeah.
The only reason I don't want them to say it is because my entire retirement is invested in the U.S. stock market, and I'm afraid. I'm very afraid because
Legit.
that's
a legit concern.
The S&P 500 is totally influenced by AI companies. This magnificent seven, they call them. Dozens of American universities and colleges have announced new AI departments, new AI programs. The New York Times says college students flock to a new major, AI. The second most popular undergraduate major at MIT is now a new program called Artificial Intelligence and Decision Making. I think we're very interested in the U.S.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's pretty unsurprising, if I'm honest. Yeah, although when I look at what it's like to be a college student right now, it's got to be a really weird time to be going into college, right?
It has to be bizarre.
At this moment where the uncertainty, whether founded or unfounded, a lot of people are concerned about like, well, am I going to study for 4 years or 6 years, get my degree, and then
what?
And then what? The AI is going to do it for me if it doesn't already. Like, why am I even going to school right now? It's got to be so weird to be in school. So, of course, they're flocking to AI because I'm sure for a lot of them, it's like, this is how I keep myself relevant in this new world, whatever the heck it is or going to be. Yeah, it's got to be weird.
We were talking about Instagram. Did you see the Austrian nuns? Mm-mm. Do you know that story? The Austrian nuns?
No.
So these are elderly nuns, just a handful of them, who were moved out of their convent and then came back and took it over. And illegally.
Austria's rebel nuns refused to give up Instagram. Love that. Love that for them.
Sisters Bernadette, Regina, and Rita have been busy, according to NPR. On their Instagram account, Rita, 82, can be seen rushing around the cloisters and dabbling in boxing lessons. Sister Regina, 86, has gotten so used to climbing 4 flights of stairs, she forgets to take the recently donated stair lift. And Sister Bernadette, 88, regularly shares sharp-witted observations about matters both sacred and secular over a ritual cup of coffee. These nuns made headlines this past fall after staging an escape. Pardon me?
How many followers do they have, I wonder?
185,000. They made an escape from the care home. They were in a nursing home, which they say the church took them to against their will. They escaped from the nursing home, moved back into the shuttered convent, and then started an Instagram account. The authorities, the local abbey in the Archdiocese of Salzburg, had acquired the convent. So the Archdiocese has said, well, you can go back. You can stay there, rather. We'll let you stay there, but you have to give up this Instagram account because it's really given us some upset stomachs here. Speaking via Instagram, Sister Regina said, "We can't agree to this deal. Without the media, we'd have been silenced."
Via Instagram.
Here she is. It's Italian, so, you know. No, it's German. What am I saying, Italian? This is what Instagram. This is what Instagram was made for.
It is true.
God bless them, and I hope they leave him in there.
It's like Kardashians, but with nuns.
It's
I would put them on Love Island. I'd watch that.
Oh,
it feels like an 80s movie, and they have to win a talent show to go back to the convent.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Where's Whoopi Goldberg when we need her? Their superior said they can stay, but the nuns must cease all social media activities, stop talking to the press, and forego seeking legal advice. The nuns they have given a vow of obedience, I might add. The nuns have rejected the proposal, and now their superior has called on the Vatican to intercede. I was wondering why Father Robert was going to Austria.
Say, can we get Father Robert on?
I think I now know what he's up to.
He's trying to convince the nuns.
Canon law scholar and priest Wolfgang Rotha told NPR the deal is neither reasonable nor humane and has no legal basis in either church or state laws. They have a right to their, not only to their
they have a right
Instagram,
to post.
But yeah, they have a right to their social network. On Monday, their superior called in a crisis PR manager.
Wow.
So we'll follow this. We'll follow this.
How long until the church posts an Instagram Notes app apology? It's great.
Apparently, her superior, the provost, is just as media savvy as the nuns. Sister Bernadette mentioned, for instance, his 2022 photo shoot with an Austrian TV chef.
Oh, boy.
The provost and the church invite journalists to the big parties they throw. It helps raise money. Why shouldn't we do the same? Anyway, we'll keep you up to date on the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence.
247,000 followers, actually.
Oh, they just went up.
Yeah, they're surging right now.
This story is bringing them new followers all the time.
I mean, wouldn't you? I feel like I gotta click follow. You know, I can't understand a word they say, but right.
You know. Let us take a little break, and we will have more in just a moment. You're watching Intelligent Machines. It's great to have Jason Howell here, a good friend from AI Inside at AIinside.show. And, of course, Paris Martineau, the angry brown bear. You don't look like a brown bear at all. No, not at all. We will get the Olivia Nuzzi update in just a moment.
I don't know, guys. I probably should do it because I'm getting dinner with a friend tomorrow who I haven't updated on this in like 2 weeks. And it's going to take me 45 minutes to tell him what has happened.
So
we'll just read the clips.
A couple of days ago, Paris posts, somebody on their blog posted a series of just appalling sentences from her new book, American Canto. And Paris says, "I'm standing outside in the cold reading these and I can't stop.
I did think it was going to be the first example of death by prose, because someone sent me this blog by Scotchy, Sentences from American Canto That Sent Me to the Hospital is the title of it, as Scotchy had reviewed this for Slate. And it's just...
The Times review
All right,
came
we'll
out
talk about
today.
it once after the break. We'll talk
Okay.
about it after the break.
Did you see the Times review yet? I want to give you
Oh, no,
time
I
to read
haven't.
it. if
Should
you
we go
haven't.
through that?
Go look at the New York Times review. I think you'll enjoy it.
Did you see the Washington Post review today?
Let's put it this way. They're not very good. I would almost say scathing. This episode of Intelligent Machines is brought to you, and this, by the way, this whole story is totally inside media. It has nothing to do with AI, so it's just a footnote. Let's put it
Hey,
that way.
you know,
right.
last two letters of Olivia Nuzzi's first name, IA.
IA.
Yeah.
What's
Turn that
funny
around,
is
AI.
Just look in a mirror.
Olivia Nuzzi, her erstwhile fiance Ryan Lizza, and her portrait artist
Illustrator.
Izzy.
Yeah. It's really...
It's a little incestuous. They are the new Kardashians, I think. Our show today brought to you by Vention. Now, look, you are, as we all are, hearing all this hype about AI. Maybe you've even created, an AI proof of concept, and you're really thinking, how can we get our company into this brave new world? But it's scary. It's puzzling. And the worst thing is, it can actually tie you up in knots. That's why you need to know about Vention. AI is supposed to make things easier, but I have to say for most teams, it's just making the job harder. But fortunately, there's a partner here who can help you cut through the hype. Vention and their 20 plus years of global engineering expertise. They build AI-enabled engineering teams that make software development better, faster, cleaner, calmer. Vention's clients typically see at least a 15% boost in efficiency. And we're not talking through hype, but through real engineering discipline, because at bottom, that's what Vention is. Engineers, developers, people who understand how this stuff works. They will also do, if you want, and I would suggest you check this out, at least, in fact, maybe the first thing you do, they have these great fun AI workshops. And it's an interactive workshop with you, your team, and the Vention pros. They will work with you to help your team find practical, safe ways to use AI across your entire business. It's a great way to start with Vention, to test their expertise. Whether you're a CTO, a tech lead, a product owner, the beauty of this is you won't have to spend weeks, kind of months maybe, figuring out tools and architectures, which model you use. Vention can help you assess your AI readiness. They will work with you to clarify your goals. They'll help you develop an outline to the steps that you need to take to get you there without the headaches. And of course, that's just the workshop. If you need help on the engineering front, their teams are there. They're ready to jump in as your development partner or your consulting partner. It is probably the best thing you can do after your proof of concept. This happens all the time. You've built this incredible prototype, right? Maybe you vibe coded it on Lovable. It's even running in tests. You got it. You can look at it. But now what do? How do you productize it? How do you market it? How do you implement it? Do you open a dozen AI-specific roles just to keep moving forward? Or maybe you bring in a partner who's done this before across many industries. Someone who can expand your idea into a full-scale product without making you crazy, without disrupting your systems, without slowing your team down. That's Vention. Vention is real people with real expertise that are going to give you real results. You can find out more at ventionteams.com. See how your team can build smarter, faster, and with a lot more peace of mind. Or get started with your AI workshop today at ventionteams.com/twit. That's VENTION teams, all one word, .com/twit. Thank you, Vention, for all you do to help our lovely audience get their head wrapped around what AI is about to do to them. Vention. This is the time of year, you might remember this actually, Jason, and we used to do this, where every dictionary comes up with its word of the year, right? Mm-hmm. We've already done Merriam-Webster. We've done a few of them, haven't we, Paris? I think so.
We have.
But the king of the hill, the one that really matters is the Oxford Word of the Year, right? I don't know. Oxford University. I feel like it's the prestige one, right? Oxford University Press. They announced Monday, after 3 days of voting by more than 30,000 participants, the Oxford Word of the Year for 2025 is rage bait.
Okay.
It beat out aura farming
And biohack.
Aura farming was already in someone else's word of the year because I had to
Maybe
explain
that's
that to
why.
you guys.
Yeah.
And all of these are two words, by the way.
Yeah. Good to know. I mean, biohack, they took the space. They made it a one-word thing, but not for rage bait or aura farming.
Rage bait, according to NPR, which apparently these days has its finger on the pulse of Instagram and TikTok, rage bait gained popularity after actress Jennifer Lawrence revealed that she has a secret TikTok account she uses to get in fights with strangers online.
I really respect that. You gotta be a hater.
She picks fights. It's
not me. I don't need to pick fights with anybody on the internet, but I do think it's kind of beautiful to be a celebrity who can't go anywhere or do anything without being mobbed and recorded, to have a secret fight burner account for Instagram.
She says, I get in fights on TikTok. I get in fights in the comments section.
A lot of athletes do this too, by the way.
Do they?
Yeah.
This is the new thing.
And how we usually find out is they slip up and accidentally use their personal account. And you suddenly see them in the comments posing to be someone else.
LeBron? No. One girl was like, Jennifer adds, this is in a publicity tour conversation with her co-star in their new movie, Die My Love, Robert Pattinson. Is he he's the
Twilight guy.
He's the guy from Twilight.
Twilight, yeah. But he's so much more than that.
He's a good actor. He is a good actor. He is.
He is.
Is he? He's got chiseled cheekbones, which makes me just trust him immediately.
He and Kristen Stewart are both really good actors.
Yes, they are both from Hunger Games. No, Twilight.
No, Twilight. It's okay, Grandpa. You're going to be going to bed soon, so it'll be all right.
I wish I were in bed right now.
Yeah, you want to go to sleep? Watch Twilight. There you go.
No kidding. I tried.
Yeah.
The only way I get through it was by making snarky comments the entire time.
Well, I would recommend, there was a period of time in the last month or two where it was, I think, available for free on streaming, and friends of mine used to do a drinking game where you had have to take a drink every time someone sighs in that movie, and it's devastating. It's a devastating prospect.
How's Nick Vember? How was Nick Vember? You've completed your
Nick Vember was
Odyssey?
fantastic.
How many Nicolas? So maybe you don't know this, Jason. How many Nicolas Cage movies did you watch in Nick Vember?
Again, I kind of boofed it. So I do this thing now for the past 2 years, where in November I attempt to watch 30 Nicolas Cage movies in the month of November. It's called Nick Vember. And I try not to watch any other movies featuring, if they don't feature Nick Cage.
I didn't know this little deal. You don't watch anything else.
Well, I ended up watching, I think, 2 other movies, only because I was hanging out with a friend who had already subjected to, I think, 3 or 4 Nick Cage movies at that point. And I was like, I can't in good conscience earnestly fight for us to see a 4th Nick Cage movie together right now. But it was great. Honestly, this was my first Nickvember where a Nick Cage movie came out in theaters during the month of Nickvember.
Well, that's exciting.
Delightful. The Carpenter's Son, a horror movie where Nick Cage plays Joseph to teen Jesus, or he might be teen devil. We don't know. I don't know. It was really good. I did end it this year by doing something that I had planned on doing last year, which was watching The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And honestly, terrible.
I loved that one. You didn't like that?
I didn't. I think it was
because it makes fun of Nicolas Cage. Maybe that's
it makes fun of Nicolas Cage, and also just fundamentally misunderstands what about Nick? Like it. So the plot of it is that Nicolas Cage plays Nick Cage, who is Nick Cage, but he's down on his luck, running out of money, ends up accepting like $1 million offer to go hang out on this island with a fan, and then like kind of an action movie spirals from there. But it's all a bit tongue in cheek, poking fun at him. Basically, they name check a bunch of his movies, and it's kind of an homage to his career. But I found it frustrating because, despite the fact that it's ostensibly an homage to his career, it just doesn't understand
like
the things that make his movies good, which I think a lot of people have this warped understanding of Nick Cage that dates back to I think like 2010s YouTube video that went super viral called Nick Cage Freakout Compilations, which is given everybody this understanding that Nick Cage is just a guy who screams a lot, and that's his whole shtick. And he does scream in quite a lot of movies, but that's not the shtick. Like, it's different than that. It's not just that he's shouting.
He's so much more than that.
It is a more
liquid
robust
pools
character.
of blue in his eyes. It's him
eating a live cockroach after, and it's him eating a live cockroach like 35 minutes in to Vampire's Kiss, and then him and the director are being like, well, how do we escalate from here? It's so much more.
Man, you are a connoisseur.
I am a Cageosaur.
Is he
Cageosaur.
Is he Renfro in the what's his name in the Vampire's Kiss? Is he?
He's in Ren Fair. I didn't think Ren Fair was a good movie, but I did like Nick Cage in it.
Yeah,
I think that he's the best part in that.
He's the best part in any movie that he's.
Okay, all right. Maybe you've already answered this then, but if you're such a Cageosaur, favorite Cage, least favorite Cage.
Oh, don't ask her that.
Okay.
That's impossible.
It's hard. So.
I'm just authentically curious.
I
just plugged it in Gemini, by the way. It says 120 to 120 films.
I was about to say,
this
is, yes.
Ballpark.
Because as a brief digression,
can't even keep
he went through a
track.
period that I call the pyramid debt period, where he made a lot of unwise purchases, like multiple pyramids and exotic animals, and then went into debt and had to make a lot more movies to get up to it. But to answer your question, my instinctive answer for favorite Cage is Face Off, because it's a perfect movie and what inspired me to do this.
That is a great
But I
movie.
think technically speaking, I'm either Adaptation or Vampire's Kiss is probably
Love
like, if you're
Adaptation.
talking about
Yeah.
movies that make my heart sing.
Come on,
Least
Moonstruck was
favorite
pretty
movie.
good.
I
He's
mean,
really
Moonstruck
good
is
in
also
Moonstruck.
fantastic. Is the issue? There are just so many great Nick Cage films out there.
Collect the whole set. I get it. Yeah.
It's wonderful. Matchstick Men, honestly, also a banger, even though it's more of kind of a straight to it's a sort of movie you'd see on cable TV. But least favorite movie is Zandali by far, which is
I gotta look this one up.
I don't even know how to describe
Would you say
it. It's-
you're a Cageosaur?
Yeah, I am a Cageosaur. It is ostensibly, I'll read the description. Bored with her marriage to burnt-out poet turned corporate executive Thierry, Zandali falls prey to an old friend of her husband, Nick Cage, who's got a crazy goatee, the manipulative and egotistical Johnny, and becomes enmeshed in a sensual, passionate, and destructive affair. It could, I guess, be Challenger-esque if you were doing it right, but every aspect of the movie is just done wrong. It's shot terribly. The dialogue doesn't make sense. The plot doesn't make sense. The actors aren't really doing a good job in any of it. It's the closest I've come to turning off a Nick Cage movie while logging.
Ooh, man.
Wow.
I've only known about this whole aspect of your life for like 5 minutes, but I never would have imagined there would ever be a Nick Cage film that you'd think about turning off, to be honest.
It was
Don't egg her on, Jen.
so bad. I can't emphasize.
Does Judge Reinhold doesn't save the film? I mean, seriously.
You'd expect the craziness of his. As someone who literally has a Nick Cage coaster right next to me now.
Oh my God.
You'd expect that I would be enamored by some part of it, but it's bad.
Yeah.
It's like not even a bad movie in the way that I'd recommend watching. I think my Letterboxd review for it was, this could have been Challengers. Instead, it was boring. That's the issue, is I like a movie. I love a bad movie if it's bad in an interesting way. But to be bad in a boring way, criminal.
Yeah.
Straight to the
Fair.
heck.
Totally.
I
fair.
forget how we got on this.
I don't know, but I'm going to take a break. Before we
think it was
do,
Rage Bait.
I have that was Rage Bait. That's how we got there.
Rage Bait.
I have a two-parter for you. This is Paris's Thanksgiving. As you know, every year.
I'd also like to add to my thing. I forgot Wild at Heart. Also, probably actually.
Wild at Heart. That's the classic.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
That's the classic.
Sorry, I have to add a caveat. So last week I was home in Florida. I literally, as I was, because we'd talked about, maybe my dad should pop in and be on the show. My dad was picking me up from the airport. I was like, when I'm filming on Wednesday, like, you should come by. I'm sure the boys would love to chat with you. And he looked at me. He was like, I don't know, maybe, and seemed like really uninterested.
He was playing it cool, wasn't he? He was trying
to play it so cool, and apparently, he spent the entire night that I was recording just kind of waiting around, hoping that I would invite him in. And then afterwards was like, I guess you didn't want me to come on after all. I was like, you seemed uninterested.
You broke his heart.
I did. He was genuinely
There's a lot of backstory,
disappointed.
Jason, on this. There was earlier, a year or two ago, they were at a wedding in, where was it, Brazil?
They were at a wedding in Peru, and for some reason, because the wedding
because he had bodyguards and was wearing a tuxedo.
People in Peru thought he was some American celebrity, and so there's this video posted by a random TikTok account of people mobbing my dad, and my dad's a ham. So of course he responds by being like, "I'll sign your autograph. I'll take a photo with you, sure." And my mom is in the background being like, "Scott, come on, we gotta go." But he's like, "This is my time to shine."
I think next time you got to get him on the show because he
had questions for you guys prepared. It was really.
I think he really. I feel. Maybe we should call him up. Anyway, this might ease the pain a little bit. It's a two-parter. We'll start with part one before the turkey goes in.
When you let me know. All right, here we go. The insertion of the deep frying of the turkey is always kind of an important component. I hope we do have the Destin Fire Department ready to go at any moment. They'll be just around the corner. Grandma Marianne is right here.
She's the Destin Fire Department.
That's your grandma, right?
That is my grandma, yeah. Oh. She hangs out by the deep fried turkey so that she can smoke cigarettes all night. It's going to be a little profound, so you know.
Here we go. Get ready. It's going in the... Don't try this at home, kids.
Oh, God.
We do it every year. And every year I do think that it's going to explode.
It seems so scary and dangerous.
You pointed out after I sent you this that she has a fleece blanket 1 foot away from the fire.
She's sitting so
and
close.
That is fair.
She would go up. Oh, well, she didn't.
She didn't.
Now the drinking can begin. We got about 3...
Oh, wow. They're ready.
Wow.
Ready to go again?
Yep, the drinking can begin.
3 minutes per pound, 17.
He didn't understand the plan.
We'll be going at this about 51 minutes. We'll give you updates along the way.
He's very good at math, your dad.
It's true.
No kidding.
It's true.
Wow, how was the turkey?
It was
you're going to see how the turkey was in a moment when we come back.
Crispier than ever and juicier than ever. He also had watched apparently a lot of TikTok videos about different turkey carving techniques. So it was carved in a very interesting way.
So that is an issue. That is an issue. Now, the quality of the second part is lower, so I don't know. Maybe you have a better quality version. It looked better on my phone. I don't know. Maybe if Apple has downgraded it or something. Do you have a better?
Android says of my grandmother, she's smoking with a fleece blanket right next to the vat of boiling oil, heated by a propane tank. What could possibly go wrong?
This is a person.
Great question.
Who has no fear.
It's true.
She is a brave person.
She is part of the greatest generation.
Yeah.
It's true.
No, it's funny because I saw the video. I said, so who is that woman sitting there? Is that your grandma? And she said, yeah. Yeah, it's grandma. I love it. We're going to have more in just a bit. Jason Howell is visiting. It's great to have you. Jeff will be back next week. And of course, Jeff joins Jason every week. In fact, he didn't miss the show this week, I might add, on AI Inside.
What is he doing?
That show. I don't know. What is he? Do you know what he's doing, Jason?
He is speaking at a media conference, I believe, somewhere in a different country. That's about all that my memory can recall at this point.
Excellent.
But yeah.
We will see the turkey emerge from its hot bath in just a moment. But first, a word from Monarch. Between travel, gifts, hosting, entertaining, you name it, it's easy to lose sight of your money. And sad to say, maybe even of financial responsibility this time of year. If you want to keep your finances under control this holiday season, you need to be using Monarch, rated Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or on your phone. And right now, just for our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year. Now, I can tell you, I use Monarch. I live in Monarch. It is so useful for me, especially now I'm on a fixed income. I have to pay attention to my investments. Or am I going to survive? Am I being Nalpo next week? Monarch lets me keep track of it. I never in my whole life budgeted before. I always found it too fiddly, too much data entry. I don't have to even do that anymore. With Monarch, it automatically is hooked up to all my accounts. By the way, that was an easy process. Stays hooked up, which is great. And then automatically imports all the transactions and automatically filters them, files them away in the right place. So I know exactly how much I spent on food, how much I spent on groceries, gifts, not much, charity, even less. But I know it's in my head and I know where I am. Monarch is built for people who don't have the time to spend doing a lot of data entry, putting in your checkbook. Remember we used to do that in the early days of computers? You'd get your bank statement, you'd type in all your, you don't have to do that anymore. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Or if you, like me, in the old days used to do it by hand and got tired of it, Monarch is for you. Monarch does all the hard part, the heavy lifting. You link all your accounts. It takes just minutes. And by the way, the data visuals, the graphs and everything, they're beautiful. You get smart categorization of your spending. You get real control over your money. I was talking to Henry about this, my son. When you're making good money, you're in your prime of your earning, it's very easy to say, yeah, I got plenty of money. I'm not going to think about it. Don't do that. Don't do that. I told him not. I said, I did this. This is not good. You're going to have kids to put through school. You're going to want to buy a house. You're going to want to retire someday. When you're young, you don't think about that. Now's the time. Now's the time. Don't be complacent. If you're not on top of your money, you could be missing chances to save more, to invest smarter, to hit your financial goals faster, like buying a home, saving for retirement, whatever it is. I just thought of something. I know what I'm going to give Henry for Christmas. Monarch helps you stay informed so nothing slips through the cracks. Monarch, it's not just another finance app. It's a tool, and real professionals and experts use it. It's Forbes' best app for couples because you can share your finances with one another. That's one of the things couples get in fights over more than anything else. If it's on the paper there, you know what's going on. It's much, much easier. CNBC named it one of the top fintech companies in the world. It's got a very active and passionate Reddit community. Paris, you might be interested in that, of over 34,000 users. What's really cool, Monarch pays attention to that community. Those users are shaping how the product is developed. Monarch cares. Don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use the code IAM at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. 50% off your first year. Monarch.com. The code is IM. So glad. I was trying to think of what to get Henry. He called me last week. He said, I don't know. Should I? I'm in the stock. Should I get? What should I do? How should I save? And I try to give my best advice. I'm going to give Monarch 50% off your first year. Monarch.com. Use the code IM. Knowledge is power. Monarch.com. We thank them so much for their support. Yeah, there's a website. I use the website, but there's also iPad app, iOS app. There's an Android app. So you got it covered everywhere. Oh, I don't know. Did you put it in the Discord? Because this is kind of low quality. I wanted to show everybody how good that turkey looks.
Yeah, hold on one second. I'll put it in the Discord.
Because
I'd love to get more hungry than I am already.
Could you? Is it possibly hungry for turkey this recently? That Thanksgiving was this recent?
I mean,
what did you do
turkey
for Thanksgiving?
Yeah, I made my own turkey. I used Alton Brown / Kenji Lopez Alt's method, which involves a baking steel on the bottom of the oven, so that and then you turn up the oven all the way to 500 degrees to get it really, really hot. Put the turkey in, then turn it down to 300. But the heat from the steel cooks the dark meat faster.
That's smart.
That's the problem, right? The light meat cooks. The dark meat takes more time, so the heat cooks the dark meat faster. It actually came out perfect. I was stunned. The dark meat was fully cooked. The white The breast was not dry. It was really, really good. So, but I think Paris will vouch for this, but I think deep frying produces a pretty good result. It's
It
good,
is
right?
delicious. The skin
Yeah.
is crispy and brown,
Yeah.
but it is juicy and flavorful in the inside.
And it's in 50 minutes.
52
And that was
minutes,
a
I
big
think.
turkey. That was a giant turkey. How many
It
people
was
did you have for Thanksgiving?
17 point something.
That's huge. We had a 10-pound turkey, and I still have leftovers.
All you risk is a bonfire.
I thought you were going to say
that's why you do
salmonella.
it. That's why
Okay.
you do it in your
In your backyard.
Yeah.
in your
by grandma, out by grandma, the fire department.
right next to grandma. That's why
And
you
all
do
the,
it.
we
Find
didn't
wherever
mention all the
grandma is.
alcohol that's there as well.
Yeah,
If
there's
that goes
so
up-
much alcohol.
if
All right,
that
I
goes
posted
up-
it in the chat.
Okay,
yeah, I was
that's
going to
good.
say it was close. It was close to the alcohol, and frankly, it wasn't far enough away from the garage.
Yeah,
Or from
as I'm
a
looking
grandma.
at it, I'm like, ooh.
All right, here we go.
7:59 minutes later, it's now time for
1 hour.
extraction. Here
How much
is
been
the
drank
deep-fried
in that
turkey
time?
Infinite.
Coming
amount.
out.
Look at that.
Oh,
Look at
The
that.
temperature gauge.
yes, please.
Don't touch it. What is he, crazy?
He is crazy. Yes.
What?
Nuts?
What did he just do?
Only the
He
biggest
just
took
grabbed
the-
the temperature, metal temperature.
thermometer
gauge.
out of the-
I guess I should have asked, how did he do that? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
no
I don't
kidding.
know.
This is now headed to the dining room table. First, we'll put it.
This is what a trooper your dad is. He doesn't let anything.
Look at that crispiness.
That does look delicious. I want to
It
eat
was
that
great.
right now.
Should be ready to go. We're going to let her rest for 20 minutes. Then it's turkey carving
Now,
time.
how do you get all that metal out of there? Does it just come right out?
It's kind of just like a little frame that
A
goes
spit.
in there.
Yeah.
You kind of pull
okay.
it from the other side.
There's your dad.
Destroy the turkey.
There's your dad.
Wow.
It's good.
By the way, next
I-
time, have dad have a K extinguisher. HD editor has some experience with this. He says an ABC fire extinguisher is not good enough. You need the foam.
I don't even know if they own a fire extinguisher, to be totally honest with you. I
got
should get that as
paranoid.
well. I think this is actually wise because I started making a list of things I need to buy to bring to them in when I come home for
Got a little nervous.
the holidays.
So,
My parents, their whisks are broken. They've got a messed up cheese grater. They've never properly cleaned their cast iron.
Oh, boy.
What kind this is,
It's
but
properly seasoned then.
I am ready in case
Dang,
any
look
fire
at that.
should break out. Well, I got nervous at one point. I think there's a lot of electronics up here in the attic.
Will
Yeah.
that work for electronic fires?
This
Like
is an
lithium
ABC.
batteries?
This is an ABC.
What is
I should
the
probably get a
difference?
K. I need a K,
Is
don't
K?
I?
No, I don't know.
K's the
if-
one with the foam.
Yeah, but I don't think fire extinguishers work for lithium battery fires. I know this because I've
No, they
thought
don't.
about getting a $300 box for my e-bike batteries.
Yeah, they don't. You're right. Because
I have a-
batteries make their own. I also have an emergency fire blanket. I do have that, the Prepared
Oh, that's
Hero.
good.
I saw it on TikTok.
I have a massive amount of old smartphones up there. Many of them actually came from the Twit studio when you were shutting down the studio. I
Yeah,
was like,
you
oh, wow.
got them. Thank God. I don't want them.
These are the ancient batteries that are just
No,
daunting me
I'm
right
constantly trying to pawn my old smartphones off on friends because I'm like, they're going to explode one day.
now. Can it be your problem and not mine? Thank you.
So we're very excited. You may have seen us talk about Merumi, the furry companion robot. It is now available on Kickstarter. We are very, very excited.
Oh my God. And
It's
this
a
is
charm.
different than the one that's just the little flute.
This is better than the one that sits in a little bowl and just goes, "Ah."
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what they call a charm robot. See, it's attached to a person. Apparently all it does is
Oh.
look around.
This is a spy device.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
This, I think you're right. I think Anthony Vinci would say, do
Yeah.
not. Where is
wonder-
this made?
I wonder what he would have said about Labubus, because I've heard some really crazy, weird things.
They don't have
about
cameras in
Labubus
them,
being,
do they? Do they have
I
circuitry?
think there's just some wacky conspiracy.
There was some
theories
viral
that are
stuff
Like,
of,
Labubus
like,
are.
People cutting Labubus open and finding cameras, but I don't know if like they're planted or like you can't believe anything on the internet.
Totally.
You're not
I
gonna put
no, and I
cameras
don't.
on.
But still,
VO should get on that. We could make a good VO.
I am glad that your
Yeah.
father did not fall for the AI slop recipes that are taking over Thanksgiving dinner. Food bloggers, and my son is a food blogger, sees traffic dip as home cooks turn to AI inspired by impossible pictures.
Oh, okay.
Oh boy.
The recipes are not AI generated. The pictures are, right? And there's
Well,
like,
no, I
follow
think it's
this,
all AI.
I wondered about that. I mean, I pretty much assume that if an AI is generating a recipe that didn't exist before, it's probably, your chances are pretty low that it's going to be amazing. But
So Bloomberg quotes Eb Gargano, who has been writing recipes online for some time, the easy peasy foodie, you might know him as. She, not he, can predict when U.S. readers begin searching for her stress-free turkey instructions or when her Christmas cake will start its annual climb-up search results. This year, though, the easy peasy foodie says familiar patterns are breaking. Instead of sending home cooks to her decade-old, well-tested recipes, Google increasingly inserts AI-generated summaries stitched together from bits of her work and others' work that often get the basics wrong. For instance, an AI-assembled version of Gargano's Christmas cake would have people cooking a 6-inch cake this big for 3 to 4 hours.
Oh no! You're going to need that fire extinguisher.
Yes, indeed.
She says you'd end up with charcoal.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
flavor
traffic
crystals.
to her turkey recipe is down 40% year over year. And it's because, and this is what Google's doing to everybody, right? This is this is the end of the internet. Google is replacing traffic to people's websites with their AI summaries. The thing that's bad is these AI summaries aren't good. They quote a Mexican food blogger, Muy Bueno, Yvette Marquez Sharpnack. She says earlier this month she posted 2 AI-generated tamale photos, one with sauce poured over it. Now, if you know tamales, and I don't know if you do, they're delicious. It's corn with a filling, and then they're wrapped in a corn husk, right? And then steamed. But I know Jason knows this because he's around. He's in California. You take the husk off, right? And then you eat the insides. You don't eat the husk. Well,
No.
No, that'd be crazy.
You can't. Yeah.
It would not be good. She posted 2 photos, and one AI generated with sauce poured over the husks, another showing tamales lying flat in a steamer. Both were obvious mistakes, she said. One, the husks aren't meant to be eaten, and tamales are supposed to steam upright. She said, little details like this are big red flags. These are the AI-generated images, and she says, this is a bad sign. People are going to get the wrong idea.
I didn't know that tamales were supposed to be steamed standing up.
I didn't either. And
that's new information to me.
fell for AI-generated photos, you might not know.
Not that I know
get
of.
it wrong. She said her husband trusted the post. Her husband wanted to try a recipe on Facebook for maraschino cherry chocolate chip cookies. She said she was suspicious of the photos. The cookies were too perfectly pink, but her husband trusted the post because it was, quote, on Facebook.
Oh, boy.
Hey, that's all you need.
The result was a melted sheet of dough with a cloyingly sweet flavor. A disaster, she said. So just a little word of warning. There's lots of AI garbage out there.
I mean, in general, when we're talking about an AI, I don't know, when it's an AI summary of facts from, like a news story or something like that, generally, I take it with a grain of salt, but often it gets things mostly sort of right.
I feel like
we're talking about
I lie to
recipe,
myself and say I can tell the difference, right?
Well,
there's
there's probably a little bit of that too. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But Paris is always saying, I don't know. She
You
says, I don't know.
because
I'm grandpa.
No, just because anyone reading something that they do not intimately know
That's
or
true.
are an
No, that's
expert
true.
in,
That's true.
the mistakes that these tools make are going to be inherently not very obvious. They're going
And
to be
they're
very
so
hard
confident.
to spot.
They're so convincing.
Stated so I know this answer.
But yet, and I guess what my point was is that I would trust a lot less an AI interpretation of a recipe when we're talking about amounts and tablespoons and teaspoons and quarter and
But Alex Lindsay
all the
says
different
all the
divisions.
time that he'll give the AI a couple of ingredients he has and have it give him a recipe, and he says I cook them all the time. They're great.
Okay,
Anthony-
we have been having
Anthony in
this.
chat
I
just said
did this week because I have been busy and not buying groceries as often as I did. I just asked, because I've been trying out Claude a lot more, I asked Claude to do a full research of recipes that I could make quickly after work for dinner that would also give me leftovers to have for lunch or breakfast the next day. And I have, during the show, been eating a cold sesame noodle thing that I had it specifically prepare for this evening because I knew I wouldn't have time to eat or cook before the show, and it's been great.
And that was a Claude recipe? A Claude
It was a
output
Claude recipe. I mean, it's pretty
It probably stole it from
pretty
somebody,
simple. I'm
right?
I was
sure-
gonna say,
it's-
yeah, I wonder if it was like
definitely
a
stole it
whole-
from somewhere.
Yeah, a
Originally,
whole
I believe
recipe
they'd
or-
had. Let's see, where were the links on this? It was originally from Gimme Some Oven and Table for Two blog.
So earlier today, we were talking about AI generator recipes. And, we have a fun group in our Discord chat. Chocolate Milk Mini Sip, Paul, tried putting this recipe in. I have broken Lego, overripe bananas, and tuna. What can I make for supper? But I was so impressed that ChatGPT did not fall for it. Short answer, please don't cook the Lego. Longer and tastier answer, here's what you can do with what you've got. With overripe bananas and tuna, there is no traditional dish that combines them, and for good reason. But you can make two separate components that actually taste good. Banana pancakes, which is overripe bananas, egg, and a little bit of oats. Tuna salad, tuna melt. Gave it the correct recipe for that, although I would put a little chopped celery in there, but that's just me. Serve them as separate dishes. Your taste buds will thank you. And then, and this is hysterical, like a little laughing emoji says, if you meant this as a joke, here are some, quote, creative combinations not recommended. Lego crusted tuna, crunchy, colorful, and 100% a dental emergency. Banana tuna smoothie, the last thing you'll ever drink voluntarily. And a Lego banana casserole, great structural integrity, zero flavor integrity. I think that was the right answer.
Not
I thought
bad
that was
humor.
pretty good.
Not immediately groan-worthy humor coming from
No, it's funny.
ChatGPT there.
It warned you not to do it.
Yeah. Not bad.
Finally, since we only had one nun story today, I think we need another Catholic Church story. So I'm going to put one more in. The race to AGI-pill the Pope. Now, this one I will run by Father Robert. I'm sure he'll have something to say because Father Robert, as some of you know, is our good friend who is in the Vatican and is a consultant to the Pope on technology and AI. This is a story from The Verge today. Robert Hart writing, a team of believers want the Vatican to take AI doomsday scenarios seriously. There is a movement afoot to get the Pope to speak out about the dangers of AI. These are AI doomers that want Pope Leo to pick a side in the AGI debate.
What do you think he's going to pick?
I don't know. The Verge says he's convening experts. He's paying attention to relevant conferences and gatherings on AI. I know he asks Robert. According to several Vatican observers The Verge spoke to, it's something of an open secret that Pope Leo is preparing an AI-focused encyclical, which would be, in a way, the doctrine of the Church. So maybe they should be lobbying the Vatican.
We got to get a representative from the church on here that knows a little bit about AI. Whoever could we call?
If only we knew.
If only we knew someone that
Yeah.
also had great expertise when it comes to cats.
Cats and AI.
Yes.
And drones. He's also
Yeah.
drones.
Like
so there are a group
Godfather.
of people. They actually flew to Rome and they're trying to get to talk to the Pope and get him to say something about AI doom. I don't know.
I also, for anyone interested, I have posted the text of the meal plan recipes recommended by Claude in the Discord live chat. If anyone's interested in trying them.
That's a benefit for members of Club Twit.
Yeah.
Lucky you.
Lucky you. If you're not a member, you see what you're missing. twit.tv/clubtwit. It is a very important part of our monetization, just as you have your Patreon, Jason Howell. We use Memberful, which is a Patreon company. We have our own little club. The club, though, makes up a big portion of our overall expenses. 25% of our operating costs come from your Club Twit membership. That's a huge deal. As Jason knows well, if there's no deep pockets here, there's no investors bailing us out. If we don't make enough money to keep the shows on to support the staff, we have to cut, and we have in the past. The reason I'm in an attic with my little ABC fire extinguisher is we didn't want to spend the money on a studio. So we've done everything we can to cut. It's up to you, really. It's at this point. If you want to keep Twit doing what we're doing, if you want to keep these shows going, if you want to get the extra shows that we do in the club, and we do a lot of stuff. Our AI user group is coming up tomorrow at 2 p.m. Pacific. This is going to be fun. Larry, LRAU, in our Club Twit, is going to, he's been working on a demo of Google's new vibe coding IDE, anti-gravity. So we're going to get a demo of anti-gravity. Hi, Larry. So that'll be fun. I'm very interested in this. But that's the kind of thing we do in the club. It's great. It's so much fun. We have conversations about interesting things going on in our life. Anything geeks might be interested in. If you're not a member, please consider it. Ad-free versions of all the shows, of course, because we don't need to show you ads. You're a member. Twit.tv/clubtwit. This is a good time. Now through Christmas Day, we have a 10% coupon for annual memberships. There's a 2-week free trial. There's also family and corporate plans. The base plan, $10 a month, $120 a year. But again, 10% off when you sign up for a year. Be a good gift too. Twit.tv/clubtwit. Enough said. Not gonna belabor the point. Not. I think this might be a good time for our picks of the week, so we can wrap things up and Paris can get back to her noodles.
Actually, before we get to that, I wanted to ask Jason something about all the AI music news that's happened in the last couple of weeks, because that's something I'm personally interested in. I know Jason's a musician as well, so I want to know what his opinion is on like Warner making deals or like Universal making deals with the AI companies.
Yeah. And by the way, Spotify has announced that they are making so much music that Suno is creating, or rather Suno, not Spotify, that Suno is creating an entire Spotify catalog. What is that? 7-8 million songs every 2 weeks.
2 weeks. It's
and
nuts.
This is the context also is that Warner Music Group struck a deal this week with Suno, settling kind of its copyright lawsuit against it.
And I've used Suno, and I love Suno, by the way. I am so impressed with what Suno can do. Now, Jason, he has albums. He's yellow. Is it Yellow P?
Yellow Gold. Yellow Gold. Oh,
Yellow Gold?
Yeah. One word.
I'm sorry, I was teasing you.
You got it.
But now they're going to remember it, right? So you are a musician. As you can see, there's guitars behind him and stuff.
Somewhere back there.
I think I'm glad Benito asked you. Benito's also a musician. Benito said in the past, and I think this is true, the joy of being a musician is making music. So
100%. Yeah, I mean, as a musician, I can say that, right? As someone pretending to be someone who does not make music, though, I think these services fill a gap for someone who has an idea or wants to get into the fun of making music and doesn't have the time or the energy or the money or the whatever it takes, the commitment to learn a musical instrument. It gets them at least an entry point into what it's like to have an idea and to come out with something on the other end. As far as the deals are concerned, like, I think this was just inevitable. Like, I knew at some point, knowing what we've seen these services were capable of, regardless of how they were fed their information and the legality of all that collection of the data that built up the services and all that, putting that to the side, that's a whole other question. But the quality of what they've been able to do, for me, as a person who loves technology and the magic of really good music technology, I just look at it and I'm in awe. Benito, you would appreciate this. I have, after 25 or 30 years of making music, I have like tons and tons, hundreds, 500, let's say, old recordings of songs that I've like demoed or just me and a guitar, from 30 years ago into a tape recorder or whatever. And what I realized with Suno is that I could take that old recording, put it in there and tell it, I want this song, but I want this song modernized. And what it allows me to do as a musician is get re-excited, like re-excite myself about these old ideas, because then I go, oh, that's what I could work towards, is something like that. And so these tools, I think they get a lot of flack and a lot of pushback because it's so easy to just type out a paragraph and end up with something, and then people claim ownership, or they claim like, I created that, and a lot of people would push back on that. But I think there's real value there. There's a whole lot of complicated issues though connected to that, and I recognize that. But from a pure technological standpoint of just being a fan of music technology, I think it's really interesting, and I think I'm not surprised at all that these companies are being swallowed up, and they're going to turn it into something legit.
Does it scare you that Suno? I mean, I don't know if you've used the new version 5, but it's so good.
Yeah, it's really good. That's what I've been using.
Worry you? You use it too. Yeah.
Well, I use it to prototype. I use it to get a sense of like, what could this song be if I was to, spend some time with it, take an old crappy demo and see like, is this a path worth pursuing for me? And I find myself getting excited about what I hear there. I'm like, oh, that's what I could work towards. And then I'm invigorated. And then I go and I make it. Like as a creator, I then put in my effort as a musician and I create it. So, but I'm also not like a career musician. I'm always going to write music because I love it. It's dear to my heart. It's part of my expression. It's part of who I am. So the existence of a Suno doesn't offend me outright, like it's going to take my job but I can totally understand why people are freaked out about it.
Does it at all worry you to be uploading, I don't know, old demos of you into something like Suno?
It doesn't worry me. Again, I can understand why it worries other people. But for me, like, these things are 30 years old. Like, who cares? I mean, I don't care. It's a 30-year-old, song that when I was a teenager, I recorded into a microphone. It's going, when I pass away, those recordings are probably going to get thrown in the trash. Like no one's going to ever care about them as much as I do. And I'm not making any money off it. So I don't care. I just want to do cool stuff. And that allows me to look at my music through a different lens. I'm very interested.
That is a cool use of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because iHeartRadio just announced that they're not going to play any AI music or use AI-generated personalities in their radio stations or create any AI-generated podcasts. They are one of the biggest
Hosts are now going to say that they are quote guaranteed human.
Guaranteed human.
Its stations will feature
for a certain group of people, that's like, yay, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I do think we're about to split here, though, where there's going to be a section of people who just straight up don't want AI music, and then there's a section of people who want AI music.
It's not just music,
or just
everything.
Don't care. Like, because I think there's a certain segment of music, like I'm kind of the camp that, like, I know a song I like when I listen to it and I realize that I like it. Like, do I need to know the provenance of that song? Do I need to absolutely know that a human made that? If I like it, is that the point? And I think that's the case for some people. It's like, whether AI is the tool that created it or created a piece of it, Hollywood's going through this too. They're trying to figure out, like, are we okay with AI? I'm sorry, but AI is part of your tools. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be the same way that Photoshop is used for, editing pictures and everything, that old trope. But
can you tell if it's AI generated?
When I hear an AI-generated song?
Yeah.
I think I can. It's got a watery quality to it that I feel like is pretty identifiable.
That's a nice
now,
word, watery.
Wet.
Yeah, but for how much
got
longer?
Like this. Yeah, exactly. Like the way everything is improving in all other facets. Video's pretty remarkable right now.
So they're talking in the Discord about "Walk My Walk," which is
that's right,
an artist called Breaking Rust. It's a 100% AI generated song, #1 on Billboard's country charts.
That was, I believe,
a couple of weeks ago.
An overstatement. I think it wasn't exactly #1. There were some.
No, it was #1 on
the chart briefly.
The chart was for people who purchased digital music. So like that's a very small list.
Okay. So like a very specific.
You can absolutely game that. It only takes like 3,000 or 4,000 buys to get on that list.
Right.
Oh,
it's
really?
pretty small. But yeah, no one's buying music anymore.
Compared to like the actual Billboard Top 100, like this is like the country chart.
What's the Billboard Top 100 based on? Album sales?
a bunch of aggregate stuff, a lot more stuff.
Mama, look, there's only two ways you can listen to music now. You stream it or you buy it. And it was also streamed 3 million times in under a month. I think this is legit.
I mean, at a certain point, would we all agree that at a certain point these things are going to get so good that it's going to become really difficult, if not impossible, to tell the difference between an AI-generated song and a real song? Like, of course. So then at a certain point, these iHeart... And I'm not saying this because I feel strongly that about this iHeart story.
No, but there are people who will, right?
But there definitely are people who will. And I just think, like, I get it right now. Like, right now the music, the technology is not there. But if you want to live in a world where you're like, and it's never going to happen because I'm not going to let it happen. I'm sorry. It's like that. That's not how technology works. That's not how it's ever worked. And this is just a weird spot that we're in right now. That's how I feel.
What do you think Billboard's real charts are based on? I mean, really, seriously, are there record stores anymore? I mean, I used to report to Billboard when I worked in radio and when I worked at a record store. I used to report to Billboard, but I don't know. Does radio airplay count
The
anymore?
charts can be ranked according to sales, streams, or airplay. And for...
I'm sure.
For main song charts such as the Hot 100 or Global 200, all three data are used to compile the charts. Right. So sales, streams, and airplay.
So how much of what you end up listening to on Spotify is AI generated? I bet a lot more than you'd like to think. Unless it's the Rolling Stones.
I don't know. What was your
right?
Spotify Wrapped? Do you have any AI generated songs in that today?
I have not. I don't use Spotify.
Wow.
What was your Spotify?
So different.
Are you a Spotifyer? Of course you are,
am,
because
yeah.
you're a young person.
Is that a young person thing? I feel like Spotify is kind of the big
Everybody uses
music
it.
screener.
Jason, Spotify?
I have Spotify and YouTube Music. YouTube Music is what I
Apple
use.
Music. The reason I had Spotify and I got rid of it because I already have YouTube Music, which I was going to get rid of. Then I realized, but that also gives me YouTube Premium, so I don't have to see ads. I have Apple Music because I have an Apple One account. I have Amazon Music because I have an Alexa. I have
too many.
I have at least 3 or 4. I have there's others. So I think I just got rid of Spotify because but both my kids have Spotify, so we should have a family plan.
I'm just scanning through. I was on the Wikipedia page for the Billboard charts, and the first chart published by Billboard was last week's 10 bestsellers among the popular songs, a list of best-selling sheet music in July 1913.
Winchester Cathedral, oh, you ain't heard nothing yet, mama. All right, now we're going to take, there's no break to take. We've done our breaks. Now we can do our picks of the week. If you would like to, we like to start with Paris Martineau.
I'm trying to decide what I want to do. We didn't get to talk. Should I just read some quotes from
Sure.
This is...
The ones you can read.
The ones I can read. Hers actually isn't very crass. So this is the book published by Olivia Nuzzi, who famously got fired from New York Magazine a year ago for having an emotional affair of some sort with RFK Jr., who she was covering.
He says it was emotional. Liza, her ex, says
other people
wasn't.
say it's not. I don't know. Anyway, this is her memoir that she wrote that's being ripped apart now kind of in the press for its interesting writing choices. I'll read some sentences picked out by Scotchy, the great blocker, or the great Gawker blogger, who says she had to review Olivia Nuzzi's new book for Slate, and she did a blog called Sentences from American Canto that sent me to the hospital. The first is, see if you can follow this. The flag winked beside lanes that bent to borders, that faded to barriers, that fell to the lines I crossed. I am talking, of course, about how it happened between me and the politician.
It might be helpful to understand, she claims she writes all her works on her phone.
Yeah, and I feel like here's something that is a useful thing that I guess could go with, I think I mentioned this in the chat. I was once gifted a drone. I named him Pistachio since he was so tiny. Page 44. The movie star, not a fraud at all. In fact, a shock of honesty in this weird little town, approached and grabbed my face. Olivia, the secret to life is to be rapeable, she told me. You are rapeable.
Oh my God.
Weird. One of them is, this is a line pointed out in the Washington Post review as a description, as an example of her metaphors growing in feverishly mixed, she writes. It was as though the media was holding up a doll of me and gesturing at random to different parts in search of kindling to feed the fire of the story.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
just then that we came from fire and returned to fire, that we move forward only because we have learned to tame some fires, that here at least untamed fires is the greatest present threat to life.
Honestly, sounds like she might have a mental illness issue. Seriously.
I think that she went through something I really actually enjoyed, the Washington Post's review of this, which is Olivia Nuzzi tries and fails to save her reputation in American Canto. And where was the... Basically, she says that you can't write a memoir unless you are willing to kind of bury your soul in it. She said,
right.
In the end, Olivia did go native in her time in Washington, which is one of the things she says, but her account of her infatuation and the ensuing ordeal is a string of overwrought emotions. You shouldn't write a memoir unless you are willing to make yourself look foolish and pathetic. Nuzzi breaks this cardinal rule, flattering herself by admitting only to the chicest types of disintegration. And I think that it's part of it. She goes on, this author goes on to write, good literature and good gossip have in common that they are both savagely and mortifyingly honest. They plumb the depths and reveal the sordid details. They don't save face, they rip it off to expose the raw veneation beneath. And I think that's kind of good. We're all having a lot of fun making fun of the back and forth between Olivia Nuzzi and Ryan Lizza and all the media drama of it. But the thing about this that I do find interesting and a bit disappointing is if you go through most of the reviews of Olivia Nuzzi's book, begin with some great author who's writing this review, like, I was genuinely a fan of Olivia Nuzzi's reporting
right.
for years.
Almost all of them say that.
Everybody was that. I was too, and still am. I think the stuff she had written was great, even though now I feel complicated about it because I don't know who she has and hasn't slept with. But
why would that
upsetting.
matter? Explain to people not in the business.
It would be, she has been alleged to have had romantic, if not physical, relationships with two of the politicians she covered, which is not acceptable.
And to have written a profile of a politician that her lover at the time was trying to influence.
Yeah, and there's also,
this is a perfect juxtaposition between you and her. You won't even vote. You won't talk about politics and won't even vote because you need to not be biased.
Yeah, I won't participate in political demonstrations and things like that because I think it's important to continuously maintain neutrality.
And and this is what everybody says, well, maybe she's more of a Tom Wolfe or a Hunter S. Thompson where she's gonzo. She's
one of the things
in
that Ryan Lizza, her ex, published and claims is a document he found, I think, on her computer is a memo that Nuzzi allegedly sent to RFK Jr., basically spelling out how he should approach being excluded from the presidential debate. And it goes so far as to be like, you need to wear a suit, a blue suit, because you're a summer. You're a summer, unlike some other politician. And you need to pitch your stream to these specific news networks, and if they don't agree, then you need to go to this host, and basically acting as a political advisor, which is completely antithetical to journalism.
It's gone a little far.
But I think the thing that is so sad about all of this is it would have been I was originally really excited to read this book, American Candid, despite all the things I just said, because I was like, well, Olivia Nuzzi's a famously good writer. She clearly made a terrible mistake, grave lapse in judgment. It'll be a fantastic book to read how she fell into such depravity, how she lost herself so much, what covering Trump world from the front lines took from her. And it is upsetting that there doesn't seem to be as much self-reflection in that as anyone would have hoped.
She's 32 now. She was very young when all of this began.
I mean, yeah, that's also, I think, a huge part of it.
Yeah. It's just pretty sordid and tawdry, and prefer to think of better things. But
I will keep texting you every time it comes out, Leo. Leo's saying this, but yesterday he was like, to me and Jeff were going back and forth over this, and he was like, why does this always happen when I'm on the air?
I'm in the middle of a show and I'm getting text after text after text, and it's like I can't even read the things you're talking about. Look, it's amusing. Mostly I'm amused by you and Jeff and all the energy around it is very amusing.
I was going to say, this is perfect me and Jeff bait.
Yeah, it is. It's great. Thank you, Paris. Did you want to share a pick with us,
That
Mr.
was my
Howell?
pick.
I share this pick with you, actually. This is a good pick, Jason. Go ahead.
Yeah, I forgot that there was a whole pick thing, and I was like, well, I guess the Suno thing could have been a pick, but I got to have a pick. And then I was looking around, and I was like, oh yeah, loop earplugs. So
Yes.
I just started in a new band. I haven't been in a band for, I don't know, 25 years. I've just done music by myself. And then friends of mine were talking about their Ween. Have you ever heard of the band Ween? You ever heard of Ween?
That sounds familiar. Are you in Ween?
I'm in a Ween cover band, and I play keyboards, which is very interesting because that's not like an instrument that I consider at the top of my list of capabilities, but I'm learning. Anyways, it can be a loud band, and I forgot that I had these loop earplugs, which are kind of like, they don't look like your standard typical earplugs. The cool thing about these is that they don't just block everything. You know, sometimes you put in earplugs, and if you're a musician and you're in a live music environment or you go to a show, you put in earplugs and you can hardly hear the music because they just dampen with, reckless abandon. And the cool thing about the loop earplugs is, A, they're not that expensive. B, I wish I had, actually I do. I have an overhead shot, do I? Yeah, I do.
Wow.
They kind of have a little bit of a kind of, fancy quality to them, I guess, the little metallic piece and then the nub that goes in your ear. But they come with a lot of different pieces that you can attach to the end that give you different noise reduction, also give you, of course, different fit. And I really enjoyed wearing these when I'm doing the band practice because I don't feel like I'm isolating myself into like a muffled room
Which
off in the
ones did
distance.
you get?
Yeah, so I was on the website scrambling trying to figure that out.
You didn't get the Swarovski crystal one. I can see that.
No, not the Swarovski crystal
I have two
one.
pairs. I have one for sleeping, which is smaller and is out of the way.
Do you have a hard time sleeping without?
No, and I never wear them, but I got them.
Just in case.
It was actually when we were going to go on that trip up the Mississippi, and I'd heard it was very noisy, so I got them for that. And I'd done some research. I think I saw it on Reddit, and then I got a pair because I always wear earplugs when I go to shows. You're so smart, Jason. I have bad tinnitus anyway, but I don't want to make it any worse. So I got some of the kind of more standard ones. But what's cool about these loops is you can put a little rubber ring in them that attenuates the music even more. So you have control about how much attenuation there is on the music. And yes, they do. Unlike just stuffing something in your ear, they really do give you a pretty good quality. They don't sound too much.
Have they been tested?
Right.
Do they actually dampen the sound enough that it protects your hearing, though?
Oh yeah, I think it's 10 dB. I can't remember. They say they have there you go, ready to rumble.
Yeah, so these are the Loop Experience Plus. That's what they are. And then when you get the box, it comes with all these different kind of fittings for
There's
it.
the tips, but there's also a little rubber ring you can put in the loop, I believe.
Oh.
So they have.
I don't know about
So
that.
the experience mode is 23 dB down. Quiet mode is 26, which is quite a bit. So if you're at a concert and it's 100 to 120 dB, that's deafening. That's very, very loud and will damage your hearing. Anything over 90 for an extended period of time will damage your hearing. So if it's 120 dB and you're able to get to 26 dB down, that's going to protect your hearing. That's going to really help it. You should still probably get out of there, but.
I need to read this review that's just casually at the top of Loop's thing. It was just left by someone. 5 stars. Awesome. They look amazing. They also really help block out sound. My bird screams a lot, and putting these in blocks out most of his screaming. I can still hear people talking to me,
Very
which is
useful.
great. And it keeps going on. And I was like, your bird screams a lot?
Yeah, bird people are different. They're different.
Yeah,
they put up with a
different.
lot. Yeah, different type.
Different breed. Yeah.
So yeah, the loop experiences are for concerts. Let me see what they too. I think there may be even more reduction. But I really like them. I think they're really good. And they you can get a little magnetic, which I did, little magnetic cable, so you don't lose them.
There's like a whole loop road that I haven't driven down.
There's a whole loop road.
It's a loop.
It's a whole loop. But part of the reason that I bring it up is because it's close to Christmas. They're having a sale, and they're not that expensive. It's like sometimes it's like dirt cheap or really expensive when it comes to ear protection and stuff. And these are really affordable, but not dirt cheap. They're probably like $30-$40, but they got some sales going on right now.
You're protecting your hearing. Paris, when you go to concerts, do you wear
I do, yes. I used to hate concerts until I realized that you can wear earplugs and sit down.
The AirPods also, you don't have to dance, huh? The AirPods.
I will, if I end up, when I was at a bachelorette party, we ended up at a club and I hadn't brought earplugs and I was like so physically uncomfortable because I could feel my hearing getting damaged. But then I put the
AirPods work really well, actually. Yeah, I've gone to shows with AirPods too.
Does it actually help though? Because it's active noise cancellation. Is that not damaging?
If you have a good seal,
if you have a good seal,
you're sealing them.
Yeah.
So it's not that sound is your ears are being protected. Absolutely.
But the active noise cancellation isn't producing other noise that cancels it out, but is also damaging? Okay.
No, it's
I don't know how noise works.
It's bringing it down. Well, you got a wave like that, and then an active noise cancellation gets a wave in the other direction, and it.
But the fact that there's another wave that's not.
No, it's not. You're not hearing the other wave. They're canceling each other out.
No, they cancel each other out.
So there's a trough.
They aren't audible.
And there's a hump, and the hump and the trough, and they just zero out. It's amazing. It's a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good. You know what? I bet you people don't know that. Active noise cancellation is not making more noise.
Multiple times before, I guess it was many years ago, but I never found a straight answer.
Yeah. So they do two things. They seal your ear because of the tips, if you've got good tips. So that's cutting it. And then the noise cancellation is bringing it down even more. Yeah. It's not putting more noise in your ears. Good news.
Good news.
That's because they have microphones on them. And they can, and the circuitry in there takes the music.
They figure out what this is, and they make it like this.
Takes the music, shifts it over 90 degrees, and then the trough fills the wave, and the wave fills the trough, and you get nothing.
Or takes the air noise of the airplane and does
same thing. That's why it works with continuous noise, but it doesn't work very well with transient noise, because it doesn't have enough time to generate a canceling wave.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. I thought that was common knowledge.
The more you know.
The more you know. Paris Martineau, everybody should read her. Are you working on the next big expose?
I am, yeah.
Consumer Reports soon. You got to subscribe.
Keep your eyes
become a
open.
member.
You don't need to subscribe, but you should because you should support good journalism.
Yes,
but you don't need to subscribe to read my stories.
No.
But you should because it's really affordable.
Are all of your stories outside the paywall?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Is that part of the deal you made?
I mean, no, it's just our special projects team does.
Because you're doing good work for people.
Consumer advocacy work. So that's inherently and in front of the paywall thing because we want it to reach as many people as possible.
Nice. Very good. And again, Jason Howell. All inside, AI inside. I want to say all inside, AI inside.show. AI inside.show.
Yeah, and the lower
and Yellow
third,
Gold. What's the Yellow Gold website?
Together. I don't really have a Yellow Gold website. Just go onto Spotify or YouTube Music and do a search for Yellow Gold, one word. You will also find an artist called Gustaffer Yellow Gold, I think. That's not me.
You. Okay.
It's just Yellow Gold.
Just plain old Yellow Gold. And where does the Ween tribute band perform?
Well, soon in the Bay Area. It's
exciting.
Legit. When I went to my first practice with them, I was like, "Oh my God, you guys are really good." And
nice.
So I've got a level that I've got to work up towards, and I'm working on it. But I think it's fun.
Do they have a clever name? Because if you're a cover band, like we have the Illegals, we have Fleetwood Macrame, we have AC/DC.
AC/DC.
Yeah, this all girl AC/DC tribute band. Do you have a Ween, not Ween or we ain't, or I don't know? You need a clever name. You have a clever name?
There's an old Ween song that I really like called Voodoo Lady. that I think would be a good band
Voodoo
name.
Ladies. The Voodoo Ladies.
Voodoo Lady. But you know,
Perfect.
there's a million names. We actually have a group chat going on, and I swear and it's always rolling, and half the time it's like band name ideas. So
what the name's
we'll
going to be. Yeah.
Before we go, can I mention something real quick?
Oh, sorry, I meant to bring this up.
No,
yes.
it's fine.
Go ahead.
I'm happy to just have like 30 seconds.
Jason's doing something really cool.
I mean, I'm playing around with ideas. It's the end of the year. It's, you know, and I'm like looking at December. I'm like, I had an opportunity to help someone, a friend of a friend who had a podcast, and they were looking to take it more seriously. And I hopped on a couple of calls with him, and it just made me feel good to like take my 20 some odd years of podcast experience and tell him things that I take for granted, but that really impacted his, you know, how he approaches his podcast. And I was like, I want to do a little more of that. So I decided that for the month of December, I'm opening up my calendar for like 10 people, 20 minutes. It's not a huge amount of time, but it's the amount of time I have. And if you have a podcast, or if you're thinking about podcasting or whatever, like I want to get a sense of like what kind of need is out there, or what kind of problems people are looking to solve around podcasting. I might not have a solution to everything or an answer to everything, but I'd certainly love to talk with you about it. And maybe I can give you, you know, some insight that you might appreciate. And I would learn a little something about, you know, the demand for something like this. Go to bit.ly/podcast tune-up. I just set that up before the show. That'll take you to a Substack post that I did like a week and a half ago talking about this, and that gives you the way to say you're interested. So anyways, that's anyone who has a podcast or thinking about it, reach out.
What a great thing to do. Yeah, Lisa told me about it, and I thought, oh, that's really cool. bit.ly/
yes, podcast tune-up, all one word.
Podcast tune-up for some help from a guy who's been doing it practically as long as I have. When did you?
My
when did you
entire
start
professional career pretty much is podcast. I started in 2005. Wow. I got an internship at ZDNet, and I think at the time I was helping out with a show called Dan and David with David Berlind and Dan Farber.
Remember, yeah.
And then I got pulled over to Buzz Out Loud.
Buzz Out Loud,
2006.
Yep.
So,
and I've asked ChatGPT, and it suggests the Boognish Brothers, Pure Guava Revival.
I like that one.
Chocolate and Cheese Whiz,
Ooh,
the
that's
Mollusk
good.
Men,
Okay.
Dean and Jean Adjacent, Voodoo Lady Review, Mutant Boognish. I don't know what any of these mean. Pork Roll, Egg and Tribute, Captain Fantasy's Crew.
Captain Fantasy is another one that I'm amped for. Yeah.
Or Buenos Tardes, Imposters.
Love it. Yeah. Ween,
you know
by
Ween,
the way,
you know.
Yeah, Ween is a very unique band. But
Is it
they
hard
also rock.
Is it?
It's everything. The weird thing about Ween is they are everything. They might have a bossa nova song next to a death metal song next to they're everything, and they just do it all so well. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It's really unique. And when I found out that they were looking for someone, I was like, oh my God, when I was a teenager, the band that I emulated when I first started recording music was Ween.
So you know all
like,
the songs.
So I know a lot of the songs.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, I guess you have to be in the band then. I'm like, okay.
Great. Hey, let us know when you play. I'd love to come see you.
All right, we'll do.
Thank you, Jason Howell. Great to see you again. Thank you, Paris Martineau. Thanks to all of you. A special thanks to our Club Twit members. We do Intelligent Machines every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. You can catch us live in the Club Twit Discord, of course, but also on YouTube, Twitch, X.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Kick. You also can watch us after the fact, which is probably more convenient. You can download shows, audio or video, from our website, twit.tv/IM. There's a YouTube channel you can use to clip little bits and send it to friends and family, or just watch the video there, or subscribe to the audio or video versions of the show in your favorite podcast player. And leave us a great review, because Paris has got to do some dramatic readings next time.
That's true. I do.
Make it interesting. Make it funny. Make it exciting. Thank you, Paris. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next time on Intelligent Machines. Bye-bye.